excellent, excellent.
So they're both by
So
Zoom.
everybody is here. Okay, thank you. Item number 1, the adoption of the agenda tonight.
I'd like to amend the agenda.
Timer?
I also have an amendment.
I need to add an appeals committee for June 17th.
All right, that'll be item 7J. Linda?
I have an amendment. I'd like to add a facilities tour discussion at 7I.
And Tom, you had something?
Yeah, I have a correction on page 8, item
Minutes.
7F.
Oh, well, we'll get to the minutes.
We'll
in a
get to the
second.
minutes in a minute.
Yeah, in a second there.
Oh, I thought that was for the agenda.
And then we're amending the agenda to remove item 7C. Approval of the request of the employee handbook. All in favor of the amended agenda?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. All right, so we have announcements. Do we have any announcements?
I have 2. I wanted to let everybody know that Friday, June 6th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Sun Valley is having a blood drive at the administration offices at 858 Lake Whatcom Boulevard. And it says, did you know only 3% of us donate blood each year? Summer blood shortages are real, and you can help save lives in our local hospitals by rolling up your sleeves. To celebrate your blood donation this June, you can enter for a chance to win a $3,000 gift card, and I have been assured there are cookies if you donate blood. My orange juice, I think you get orange juice too. So good reason to show up. The second announcement
Get
is,
the time.
oh, I thought I said that.
Did you?
10 a.m. to 4 p.m., just in case I did miss that.
Is that the Welcome Center?
It is, and thank you. They are asking you to book appointments. You can call Bloodworks Northwest at 800-398-7888 or go to bloodworksnorthwest.org/give blood. Now this will be in the e-blast, so you'll be able to find it there. And I'm sure that if you show up that day, they will be able to fit you in. Well, I hope they will anyway. Or maybe I hope they won't be able to, because we'll have lots of donors. The second one is, there's been a number of people that have asked, especially the seniors have asked about a walking group. And so we're gonna try to put something together, whether you're a senior or whether you're, whoever you are, people of all ages. We're going to start with meeting 10 a.m. at the Welcome Center for a walk around Lake Louise. You find someone that walks your speed, and hopefully we'll meet some new people and have some walking buddies.
Is
What
there a
day?
day of the weekday?
Wednesday,
Wednesday?
What time? What time?
Wednesday, 10 a.m. at the Welcome Center. So hopefully some of you guys will show up with me, because I'm gonna be there and I don't wanna be alone.
I have a couple.
How accessible is Lake Louise? Is that something I can roll on?
I don't think so. I think there's some, I'd love to have you, but
Maybe another one, yeah.
I didn't, down the Lake Louise Trail, really flat.
No, there's some rock.
Rocks and-
yeah, it is
challenging.
This is where we're gonna start. If we get more interest, then we're gonna expand it, but, start with one day, and see where it goes. I'd love to see it every day.
It would be very good publicity if the fire department had to come and push me out.
I'll have my camera.
I have a couple of announcements too.
Yes, sir, Rick.
Just to let everybody know that the Lily remediation project in Lake Louise got off to a good start last Sunday. They are meeting Sunday afternoons at 4 o'clock for anybody who's interested. They formed a Google chat group with the sign up that's posted outside the entrance coming in here, so if you want to follow along. But there's a lot of volunteers. I think they had 20 showed up last Sunday. And,
That's excellent.
there's an opportunity to take advantage of a motorized or mechanized cutting tool as well, so they're very hopeful. Brian has been meeting with various folks, Western Washington and the state, to get a better handle on the impact that these lilies have had on the lake. The oxygen levels have dropped immeasurably. There's high carbon content in the lake, and it's having an impact on the wildlife there. So that's one thing. The other thing, I'd just like to give a shout out to maintenance for the great work they've been doing on the fireways, chipping up all those limbs and branches that have been put out by the side of the road. They've really been working hard. I hear that chipper going, seems like, from Donald's assessment, I know that more than hours.
Thank you, Rick.
I have one announcement.
Go ahead, Daniel.
No, go for it.
I just wanted to say that the short-term rental task force will be meeting for the first time this coming Wednesday at 5 o'clock upstairs from this room.
In the dance barn?
What time?
Is
5.
that open for the public to come, is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? Yeah.
Okay, you just there for support?
I may.
Let me know.
I have a couple of announcements I think fit in here, but I need to ask Timmy, isn't the community garage sale coming up?
It is, it's been on the e-blast.
Okay, I just don't know about
It is the last weekend in May, it's May 30th, it's a Saturday.
Subdivision day. The same day as well?
And there is a link you can click when you get your e-blast, if you click on that little picture, you can sign up.
May 31st.
31st,
Yeah.
whatever the, okay,
31st?
Yeah, May 31st.
Okay, so that'd be.
That's what I remember.
whatever the Saturday is,
Yeah, 31st.
I also was gonna ask Rick, is safety committee, and I'm not sure when they're gonna do it, gonna do that map your neighborhood, is that?
Oh, yeah,
coming
no,
up in
thank you.
June, or-
On June 23rd, we have Greg and Amy coming up from city and county, I believe, and actually, we're going to do a little bit of a shift. It was originally gonna be the Map Your Neighborhood. What it's gonna be this time, though, is the hows, whys, and whens of a go bag. And
Okay,
emergency evacuation or stay in place kind of discussion with an introduction to a Map Your Neighborhood to try and generate some interest. Because those usually work better if you bring your neighbors with you so you can work together.
gotcha.
And oftentimes individuals come separately and not as a group. So thanks for reminding me about that.
Where's that gonna be?
That will be upstairs in the
Dance
dance barn,
In the barn,
6:30, June 23rd.
okay.
Might even have some popcorn.
That was a big hit last time.
Yes, it was.
Any other announcements? I would like to acknowledge that we have Councilman Tyler Bird here tonight. I appreciate that, thank you very much. All right, hearing no other announcements, we'll move on to item number 3, property owner comments, 15-minute total, 3 minutes per person. Do you have any property owner comments tonight?
Yeah, actually, I will take up very little time. I'm here on behalf of the Weeblo's Den for the local 4019 chapter for the Cub Scouts. And they are doing their My Community badge right now, and they're just learning about their community. And part of that is to meet people that have been voted into their position. So I just wanted to
Can we
introduce.
bring them up?
Yes.
They go, come up to
Griffin
the podium,
and-
please.
Carson, could you stand up here with me, please?
we rarely bite.
So,
Hi, guys.
these are my scouts, I've got a couple more, but they weren't able to make it tonight, so. But yeah, we just wanted to do that, and I wanted to know, are you guys voted in by majority vote or plurality vote? Do you have to have a 51% vote to get into your, position?
Majority.
It's a
Just
majority vote.
Yep, get voted in by majority.
Cool. Oh, is that?
when did we get elected?
We have staggered terms, normal, in a normal year, 3 board members in their term. My term's up this year in November, I believe AJ's is, and Stuart is. So there's 3 in a year, and the rest of the board stays, and then we look really hard in the community for volunteers to fill those seats then, so that we always have 9 voting members.
And how often is the vote taken? Is it
Once a year at the annual general meeting.
I'll ask. What percentage of people eligible to vote in your election actually voted?
That's a Linda question.
Who, I don't,
Linda, our
that's gonna
secretary,
have
by
to
the
be,
way.
that's gonna have to be a Rob question. How many
A
voted?
little under a third,
A little under a third.
yes,
30%?
yeah,
That's a Sudden Valley population?
yes. Every homeowner, every, property owner has 1 vote, so, like my wife and I, we have
One
1 vote per property, yeah,
Okay,
I remember that when I was a homeowner in Sudden Valley, yes.
yeah.
Mm,
One vote per family, per household.
And we have a little bit of a, kind of a term limits that, so AJ's graciously, he served 2 terms for 6 years. And our bylaws require that after those 6 years that you have to be off for at least 1 year.
You ready for that?
you're doing
Sabbatical.
It's a sabbatical.
That's an impressive amount of time for
Yeah, 2,
HOA
3
board.
years.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I live here.
Thank him, he's served a long time.
Nice.
Yeah.
What troop are you guys with?
We're with 4019 Cub Scout troop associated with the 4019 Boy Scout troop out of the Penfield Cabin, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Penfield Cabin, up there off Lake Louise, right before you get to where they meet. Yeah.
So are you boys, your Webelos, are you transitioning to become Boy Scouts?
Yes.
February.
So next February, or January, depending on when we do the ceremony, they will enter into aerial light status come after the summer, and then when they complete their aerial light adventures, they will cross over probably right around January, February of next year to the Boy Scout troop. And then the Boy Scouts will take them
Excellent.
off.
So do you go from this?
Yeah,
To
to this,
this?
yep, exactly, you got it. You got it, and then you go to this. Yes, you got it.
You an Eagle Scout?
I was finally a police officer,
Oh, okay.
but I went from that to that to that.
There you go, all 4, yeah.
Pretty cool.
So, yeah, you guys have any questions? So, I just wanted to take a quick, mention that you guys do a great job. I appreciate all you guys do. I live in the area, I've been here for a year and I love it. So,
Great.
thank you very much for having us. I really, really, really appreciate it. I'm gonna take these guys out here and complete some of the other stuff for this so I can get them all to
Off your check.
You guys have a great
Tom has a
day.
question for you.
Just real quick, thank you boys for coming, and I appreciate your concern in this matter.
Awesome. I've been a homeowner in Sudden Valley twice now, but I'm not right now, but thank you again for all you do. I may be again someday.
Hey.
Thanks for coming, boys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Also, fellow disc golfer, by the way. Yeah, we'll see you out there.
That's great.
Thanks again.
Take care. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Alan.
Hey, sorry, I'm trying to double meeting tonight.
No.
But hey, I want to say, Michael, it's really nice to have you here. A few years ago when Joe Apple was still GM, they had a really great relationship with him and his management team, and we met at one point on a weekly basis, helping out with COVID and other things. It's been frustrating not having somebody that I've been able to get in touch with the last couple of years, so when I stopped by the other day and then spoke with you a couple months ago, it was really nice to be able to touch base and actually have someone to contact with and Sister to be able to work with you on a couple of things so far, so hopefully they'll come through. One of those items that we were talking about the other day, and I want to preface this by saying that this isn't something that I'm saying can absolutely happen, but more of a suggestion that I'd like to put out there. And it would have to start here at the beginning, but Sudden Valley, we pay several $1 million a year just into the county road fund. And as you guys know, we get nothing from that back. Not only are we not getting support from the law enforcement in quite the same way, but our roads aren't paved, the gutters, nothing is done from that aspect, and it's really unfortunate. I've talked to the county and Public Works Department in the past about this, and one of the big reasons for that is because the cost of bringing all of the roads up to spec, as it would be required by law, it would be overwhelming. But one of the things that Michael and I had talked about the other day, and that I'd like to throw out there is, what if we identified a handful of main artillery streets or main roads and turned those over to the county so that they could be maintained by the road fund? I think you had mentioned that maybe depending on the roads, that could be a couple $1 million in savings for the HOA, but
It would, and it would then allow the sheriff to come and do traffic enforcement.
Wow.
Yeah,
because then they would be county roadways, right? I don't know if you guys have seen the recent news regarding the road fund. Unfortunately, it's having some issues with cash flow. Put in place some solutions to rectify that here moving forward for the next couple of years. So it'd probably take a little bit of time, but if you guys are interested, it'd be worth starting because it'd take time to get it done anyway. But I'll leave it with that. If you guys wanted to go that route, Michael, you can reach out. We can touch base on it, but thank you.
Yeah.
So, I imagine, as with a lot of county and city activities, it's quite a protracted process to make that happen. Do we also have, what opportunities do we have here in Sudden Valley for having a seat at the table, so to speak, on other matters that impact us? And how would we do that? How would we go?
Reach out to me. Michael has my cell phone number, correct?
Yes.
If anyone who would like it, feel free to share it. But yeah, if there's something specific, you can reach out to me directly. By far, the best way is to call me. We get so many emails and we have no support staff, so it's hard just to get through the emails, let alone all the other communication that we get. So, but if you can give me a call and leave me a voicemail, if I don't answer, I'll call you right back when I get off the phone, or out of whatever meeting I'm in. But that would be the best way. And yeah, that would be fantastic, because it would be nice to see us get more of what we're putting into the coffers back from that, especially whenever you're getting zero. So even if that's not directly related to the road fund, maybe it'll balance out.
And there is a joint City of Bellingham County meeting coming up the first week in June, primarily concerned with stormwater management.
Yeah, that was different. It's an extension of our other annual meeting related to like Wacom and the Supreme Court ruling that we have to rectify the problem with that. But it'll be specific to that one because there wasn't enough time to get into discussion on it, the last one, but yeah.
Tyler, is Tyler?
Yeah.
Hi, Rob Gibbs. I mentioned before, are you our
Yes.
council member on the county council?
Yeah.
Oh.
And a homeowner.
Yeah.
And
Wonderful.
And a homeowner here in Sudden Valley. Yeah.
It's nice to meet you.
Same.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent.
Did you have a question?
I was just thinking you were a resident, but I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, that's,
So the position you have is an elected position?
it is, yeah.
It's a paid position?
Yes.
So when we vote, can we vote for you?
Yeah.
We're not in Bellingham?
Yeah, no, actually, our district is District 3, and then it skirts around Bellingham. There's no part of the city limits in our district. And up until recently, when there was some redistricting done, I want to say that was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, there was actually no cities jurisdictions at all in our district. So it was all like, which is interesting, because at one point it starts down Chuckanut on the ocean and goes all the way to the border on the east side. It starts at the border at Skagit, and it will go all the way to the border of Canada, but it would just cut around and cut out all the cities. Now we have, I want to say, part of Sumas and then Everson in this act as well, I believe.
And I think that Councilperson Byrd is up for re-election in January.
But that's a whole other thing, you guys know how that's.
I'm stumping.
I think you have a harder job. Like, the local races, HOA ones seem to be more contentious than the county ones, but, yeah,
So it's county, your county,
yeah,
not city of Bellingham,
no,
because we can't vote for the mayor,
no.
but we can vote for
You vote
county
for,
council.
yeah, you have an opportunity to vote for your District 3 representative on the county, and then there are currently 2 at-large positions. One of them's up at the same time as the District 3, and then the other one is on the off-cycle.
So it's a total of 5?
There's actually 7 of us.
7?
Yeah,
Okay.
which is a lot better than, I found that Nashville has 40 on theirs.
Okay.
I have one other question.
Yeah.
Who manages the lake level, Lake Wacom?
Bellingham,
City of Bellingham?
yeah, they have the pipe out, right?
They're eroding our shoreline.
Yeah,
It's just staying playing. Maybe I'll send you an email or call, text you or
Don't
something.
send them an email.
I don't know if they call.
You got a lot of business going, but.
Actually, the water meeting that Michael mentioned, might not be I don't know if we'll have open comment at that one again, but that would be a good place to come, because
Thank you.
it's a joint meeting, it's not just, it's the county council, the city council, and the water district.
Yeah, our green belts are being eroded a bit.
And if we can do more water projects, in the county, we used to do a lot of green space projects for homeowners specifically in individual properties. A couple years ago, I got them to like, hey, why don't we bundle those together and do bigger projects? So I know we've had an opportunity to do 1, I think 2 with Sudden Valley to help offset some of the costs, but if we could do more of those as well for upcoming water projects, that would be nice.
It's just nice to meet you.
Excellent, thanks for being here.
Yeah. I used to come a lot, but you guys had all these executive sessions, and then I could say here, and then I'm like, well, I'm gonna go home. And then Michael's like, no, that doesn't happen anymore. I was like, come again, I'm like, okay. But, it was nice meeting you all, appreciate it, and Rick,
Thanks for coming.
do you wanna get my number and reach out?
Yeah, I can get it from Michael, but yeah, thanks. No, I think it would be great to maybe try to set up a town hall in the fall
Yeah.
sometime, just to have a little dialogue with the community.
There was for a while, like a public safety group that was attempting to get formed, and I don't know, it seemed like it was coming and going, but they had to come over to that several times and meet with everyone and talk too, but yeah. You guys can let me know, I'm happy to swing by for anything you'd like and to help with anything I can, but. Perfect. Yeah, I'll let you get through your stuff and appreciate the time tonight.
It's
I'm
nice to
gonna
have
put
a-
this headset back in and go back outside so I can enjoy the other meeting.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Nice to
Nice
meet you.
Take care.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much. Ruth?
Do we have any other property owner comments? Spencer, anyone on?
I should be wearing these new glasses that I found good at, but here you go. Thanks.
There's a Jane P, but I don't think she is here tonight.
No hand?
No.
Okay. All right, moving on from property owner comments, we're gonna go to item number 4, which is the consent agenda for the meeting minutes for April 10th, 2025, and meeting minutes for April 24th, 2025. And Tom, you had a question on that?
Yeah, on the April 24, on page 8, item 7F, the capital request for barn 8, should read barn 6, not barn 8.
Yeah,
Page 8.
it's page 8 of 166,
Oh, I see. 6.
And I
or
have,
116, sorry.
I have some other questions once we get to it.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, that's what it is. If you have any corrections or anything to these minutes.
No, I
that you
have
need-
a question. I might as well state it now.
About the minutes.
No, about the funding for Barn 6 and this study.
No, they're just for the minutes right now.
Yeah, okay. So
Linda, you have this
I would make a motion to submit both sets of these minutes as submitted with the correction to the April 24th minutes regarding funding for Barn 6.
I'll second that. All in favor of the amended note for the meeting minutes? That's unanimous. I can't see, good, okay, it's unanimous. Thank you, Tom and Linda. Okay, moving on to item number 5. We have a report. We start out with our GM report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, this 4-page report is going to be in the views as well as on the website, but the executive summary, of course, spring is blooming. The Easter events are behind us. We're getting prepared now for summer. Of course, this weekend, Memorial Weekend, is kickoff. We are fully staffed for the pools. We're nearly sold every kayak storage, wet slip and dry slip. I thank you for volunteering to be a tug driver here. We're gonna have one more wet slip available after that. Keith's helping us with a derelict boat. And so we are looking at focusing on summer activities. Mike Rock and his team was indicated they had chipped probably double what they thought they were going to chip. There were a couple of those piles that were as big as this room, and they've been doing a great job. They work safely and just a great service to the community. So I want to thank them and echo that compliment. The report, though, is in here for you if you wish to stipulate to it rather than having to read through the whole thing. The interesting thing, though, the rainfall totals back on page 12. I know that Kevin was a little bit chagrined with the rainfall in the last couple of weeks because his April in golf revenue was great. He did great, and it looks like they're catching up if we keep up with some good weather. So you can see the rainfall totals this year a little bit down January through May compared to last year. In fact, 6 inches less, so that's a good thing. So I'll submit, Mr. President, to the board my general manager's report.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any questions for Michael? Rob?
Michael, just a question. So when we go into the marina, right when you come in, just to extreme right, there's a number of boats. We used to call that, I don't know if they still do, we used to call it boat jail.
Boat jail still.
Is there, are we gonna be able to maybe move some of those? Because we've used that in the past as for trailer parking during the nicer weather. That was like the first spots that people put their trailers in when they had launched on the ramp.
Yeah, we can sure look at that. We are gonna put this boat that we're pulling, it's a sinking boat. We've gotta get it out of the water. We're gonna pull it and put it in boat jail. The reason being, we have been unable to contact the owner. We've done certified letters, in fact, the certified mail was refused. So that's interesting. So that one's gonna be in boat jail. The purpose is that we were thinking of impounding it, which DNR said we could, because it's an environmental risk. But what we wanna do is have it right there at boat jail, so if the owners do show up, they're gonna see that their vessel's there. It'll have a hitch lock, they won't be able to grab it, but if the board wants to move that and free up the space, we can always impound that vessel and the other trailers over at Area Z. But we're also looking at Area Z, we have some derelict vehicles over there, the one motorhome I call the Breaking Bad motorhome, it's over there, it's gotta go. The one.
Breaking Bad.
Okay, yeah, except for no bullet holes, it looks just like the one in Breaking Bad. So I will certainly look at that if you want the space.
So just a suggestion, when I was at the boat club in Des Moines, we had in the facility some postings that, state law requires to put postings about vehicles being towed. And there were some boats that were just left, somebody had passed away, the family wasn't interested, and it was a cheap place to leave a boat. And what we did was just have them towed out, and they were impounded at the tow facility's yard. Now, I don't know whether they were auctioned off, but it just was handled under the law. I would suggest that we do the same, because I think some of those boat jail boats have been there for almost 10 years, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like falling on you, but that's a suggestion. So,
No problem. I've already researched the legal process, and we do have the ability to impound. We'll have to use a towing company. It's a 120-day minimum pre-notice before we impound.
Yeah,
And once we impound, though, it goes in an off-site storage yard, and it gets very costly at that point for the owner of the boat. So we can certainly do it, and we're prepared to do it. But DNR gave us the authority on this one boat, Keith,
Excellent.
we can pull it, no problem.
Is that the one that's
so for
almost
example,
like-
this weekend, it's gonna be busy down there. We're gonna have really nice weather on Sunday, and everybody's gonna wanna get in the water, including this person. So it's gonna be busy, and just all the spots we can for, people to leave their trailers, that would be great.
I'll see if we can get that handled before the weekend, but
Short notice.
it is the weekend already.
Thanks, Michael.
It's only one spot.
Is there a trailer for that boat that's?
Yep,
Oh,
we're gonna
thank
borrow,
goodness.
we're gonna borrow one from boat jail. We
Gotcha.
found it today.
I just was concerned if we had a trailer,
So
so we
we'll
could get it out.
kill two birds with one stone.
Let's just hope the axle doesn't break,
Keith, we've only got a tow at about 100 yards. So
Right on,
Keith has the big job, he has to tow it all the way around the point to the boat launch, so
yeah.
thank you, Keith.
Is that the one that's
You
almost
haven't seen how it
done
turns out yet, so.
Correct. Yeah, it's filled with rainwater, the crankcase now has water in it, the battery is underwater, we wanna get those chemicals.
It's never covered,
It was covered, but not maintained.
not properly, yeah.
It blew off. Yeah, the arch was caved in and made a swimming pool
Yeah.
inside the boat.
That-
It's the one that's been bailed out like 3 times.
Yeah, I know that.
All right,
That same
Security was
you
checking
check
it
that
out this
same one.
week, I noticed that.
Yeah,
So there's no opportunity for us to impound it, keep it in boat jail, and then after a certain amount of time, we auction it off ourselves?
It's,
I think there's a process we go through to claim
There
a
is.
boat that's, yeah,
We
there's a
can, but
whole
it's
legal
pretty much
process.
we wanna get it out of the water
Oh, I
first.
agree.
And then that starts the 120-day clock. We've already served them notice that the boat needs to be pulled. One for non-payment of the slip and for the fact that it's an environmental hazard.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna want that boat.
We have notices on the owner's doorstep. There's issues going on now, because Keith actually spoke to one of the property owners back when he helped him in November.
Oh, really?
Well, and none of them are at the house now, and they refused the certified mail that we sent, so
You know,
we'll take the next step.
Yeah.
Thanks for working
That's all
with
you
you
can
guys.
do.
Yeah.
any other questions from Michael regarding the GM report? All right, hearing none, we're gonna move on to 5B, the financial report from March Financials Capital Reserves. Good evening, Joel.
Okay, so I'm going to be going over the March year-to-date financial statements. Obviously, right now, you're looking at the balance sheet, and as you remember, the last board meeting at the end of April, so the board approved that capital request, or I should say, that request in general, to reclassify those tree expenses. The November 2024 bond for cyclone tree expenses, yeah. So obviously, a portion of that came out of roads, the other portion came out of SERP, and So because of that reclassification, that since that was approved, so I've gone back into the periods in which we incurred those costs, which was December 2024, that's when the cost of the GL, then obviously January through March and even April and so forth, and for costs related to the common area, tree removal costs, it's still been hitting in 2025. So basically the costs were they were taken out of capital and put back into operations in the months that they were incurred. You could just think about it like that. So when you're looking at the balance sheet right here, you'll see, so like under the December 31, 2024 balance sheet right here, you'll see the operating cash is $566,838. It was previously reported to be at the end of December 31, 2024, when it was even last month, looking back on December 2024, it was around 857,000. So the reason why you see that decrease is because, as that capital memo stated as well, that once I moved those costs out of capital and put them back into operations, then operations reimburse the capital fund for those cash, or for that cash expended. So like I said last night in Finance Committee, meaning you could think about it like this, you could say that there is we'll keep it real simple, there's a capital project that the board approved for $5,000 to paint the side of the building, whatever. $5,000 to paint the side of the building, obviously then the expenditure goes to SURF in that case, and then the cash would come out of SURF. And then if the board said, oh, wait a minute, we want that to be an operating cost, so go ahead and move that cost to operations. So in that case, now I'm going to move the expenditure away from SURF and put it into operations. Now operations needs to take $5,000 and reimburse SURF for that instead. So it's kind of like we're pretending, or we're not pretending. Actually, in reality, what happened is when the dust settled on this, all the costs came out of operations, so therefore all the cash comes out of operations. And then where did that cash go? To capital, since capital originally paid for this stuff. So that's why you see this decrease in cash on December 31, 2024. You go back and look at the last set of financial statements, how it said 857,000 approximately. Now it's down to 566,838. And that cash has gone from up in operations to reimburse these two line items here, SURF and roads. So you'll see an increase in the same amount to both SURF and roads in combination. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll just go ahead and skip to the income statement here. We'll just highlight here's the operating net income. We'll focus on year-to-date 3 months for operations. You'll see 170,247. And that's in comparison to last year over year. At the end of March of 2024, it was 80,505. Like I told the Finance Committee, unfortunately for the Finance Committee people, which was last night, they've already heard all of this. So, and I promise I'm going to go into a lot more detail tonight when I do this.
Thank you.
I'm just kidding. Actually, I told them the opposite. I'm going to try to do a more brief version tonight. But so you'll see $170,247 operating surplus at the end of March 2025, and then at the end of March of 2024 is 80,505. We have a couple of things going on here. For example, let's go ahead and highlight Marina income right here. You'll see that 208,304 for Marina income. So basically, in 2025, we've had a lot more renewals that happened in March, which is great. So basically, the renewals have been expedited this year over last year. So we taken in an additional $175,000 at the end of March of 2025 versus at the end of March of 2024. And that just basically means that more people have renewed more quickly. And they turned in the renewals and paid for it. And that's why you see an increase in that number. So just keep in mind this 170,247, if I adjusted that, if I tried to make it apples to apples to March of 2024, if I subtracted that number away, then you could say we're approximately $80,000 below, around $84,000 below where we were last year at the end of March of 2024. And as I told the Finance Committee last night, a couple of things feeding into that would be that golf revenue at the end of year-to-date, at the end of March, is approximately $33,000 less than what it was at the end of March 2024. We also have that contract with the HR consulting firm where we spent $20,500, that in expenditure that we had this year that we didn't have last year. So if you accounted for those things, like if I then removed those things out of there, then I guess maybe you'd say we're about $40,000 less this year than last year. Since we did have a couple of those things, and I'll talk about golf here in a second as well. The good news of golf, actually, that you'll see in a second. You know, you'll see our collection rate is 95.7% at the end of March. At the end of March 2024 is 96%, so 96% last year, 95.7% this year, so you'll see we're right in the ballpark of where we were last year. I've calculated the collection rate for April, at the end of April 2025, it's gone from 95.7% and it's increased up to 96.5%. At the end of April 2024 is 96.8%, so once again, we're right in, basically in the ballpark of where we were last year. And we finished the year last year, I want to say 97.8%. Or 97.95% at the end of last year. So we're in the ballpark where we were last year, so that means we're on a nice trajectory to hopefully be in that neighborhood as well at the end of 2025. And like I said before, since we budgeted for a 95% collection rate, what that basically means is every 1% over that, meaning for 96%, that would be off, so we've taken an additional 20,561, more than what we budgeted. Surf, 14,463, roads, 14,875, mailbox, 266. You could double that if we come in at 97%, triple that if we come in at 98%. More than what we budgeted, which is obviously a good thing, or will be a good thing for us. The other thing too, the last couple of months, how I talked about how January had that third payroll, 3 payrolls, essentially 2.8 payrolls, but we'll say 3. And so basically, the last couple of months, how I was doing a little more of a conversion, making things apples to apples, so to speak. Since the first 2 months of last year, that was not the case. Well, like I said before, the good thing is last year, March had 3 payrolls. This year, March has 2 payrolls, but the number of payrolls at the end of March of 2025 versus the end of March of 2024 have now normalized. So basically, payroll situation has gone away. Now it's apples to apples. And the next time we'll have 3 payrolls again will be in August. But the good thing is last year we had 3 payrolls in August. So for the rest of the year, the difference in the number of payrolls, that issue is gone, essentially. Now what you're looking at right here is the reserve cash balance sheet. The one thing to point out is this net available cash at the end of 12/31/2024. Like if you were to go back and look for surf and roads, if you go back and look at last month for February, you would notice that both surf and roads, the beginning cash amounts were less, and that's because that transfer, that reclassification had not taken place yet to move those costs away from the November storm, from surf and roads. Now that they've been moved back into operations, like I said before, operations has reimbursed certain roads for those funds, so now those beginning balances go up. And the good thing too is our 10-year capital plan, obviously when we did the 10-year capital plan last year, that was way before November, so that did not factor in a November storm, bomb, cyclone event. So the good thing is now that everything's been moved back into operations, it basically puts that 10-year capital plan back on track again. So it's like, so that is not fiddling, so to speak, reducing the cash balances. And then quickly, like obviously this is, we'll look at SURF here for a second. We'll just focus on this first column, SURF, and of course I say this every month, but basically you have the dues coming in, you have interest income coming in, you have some paltry $1,000 sale of assets, you have, then you have the expenditures line item. This is basically all the cash that has gone out the door through March for capital projects, SURF loan payments. And then you have this section down below, the 9-month outlook. This is the basically the projection of dues coming in at a 95% collection rate. And then the next couple biggest line items, obviously the remaining SURF loan payments going out, $249,780. And the obligated expenses, $833,247. And that ties into the open project reports for, so you're looking at the SURF page right here. So there's that $833,247 right here. And obviously this report shows all the projects that the board has approved. A lot of these you'll see have red dots on here marked closed, meaning we're in the process of closing these out to fixed assets, the fixed asset general ledger. And obviously the easy way to read this, we'll just pick on one line item right here. This golf course fairway top dresser, this will be easiest to see. Board approved on February 27th, 2025, and that's another good thing about these dates. So if you ever wanted to know what was actually approved, where was that capital project, where it was approved, just look at these approval dates. You can go right back to the board meeting for that date on the website and look in that board agenda, and you'll see that capital project right in there, approval. And so you'll see it was approved for $50,592. And now we haven't cut any checks on this yet, so the total invoice amount is 0, which means we're still expecting to spend $50,592 on this approved capital project. So that becomes a part of the obligated balance. And then I'll point this out real quickly. You'll see we have a couple things, like for example, this adult furnace, water replacement, and the final payment was made on that. We're over budget on this by $2,166. This footnote right here, this X, basically telling you that this over budget amount, when we close this thing out to the general ledger here real quick, that amount is going to be put into operations. So we'll kind of like with the tree cost, but in this case, now we don't need board approval since the board never approved that much to come out of that anyway. So we're going to put that cost back into operations, and operations will reimburse SURF for that overage. And that just naturally happens when we close out these projects, or if I notice something going over from month to month. And the road sheet is the exact same drill. You'll see one thing that I'll point out here real quick is this line item. So last month you guys approved the bridge. Basically it's kind of we're treating this like a change order because we have both costs in here. You'll see now it says 3 is the access bridge and culvert, number 4 replacement with bridge, and then you'll see 2024 design / permitting and 2025 construction. So we're keeping all those costs as one to carry that bridge. And these dates, which are handy, so you'll see approval dates February 22nd, 2024 and March 27th, 2025. If you look at those two capital projects, those two approved amounts will equal that $1,219,468. And same thing with SURF. A lot of these will be closed out here as we're closing out the capital projects. So if I go back to the financial statements, there's that $1,531,721 obligated amount for roads. I'll just hit on UDR real quick. UDR, there's really not much going on here in terms of like, some of these, like for example, the 2024 GM search, we could deobligate that. We could deobligate this raising mitigation amount if you wanted to. We have this little amount in Firewise still hanging around, but that's where the $17,056 amount is for the obligated amount. And I'm going to go ahead and fast forward here to the, so you're looking at the income statement again. See, like I said, Rick, this is clearly faster because last night we were not on this page. So there's that amount, that $170,247 that you see for the operating net income at the end of March 2025 year to date. And like I said, this just shows you what department makes up, is responsible for this $170,247 operating income in this case. We'll go ahead and we'll focus on golf here. So you'll see that golf has So at the end of March of 2025, golf here, actual revenue, 268,271. At the end of March of 2024, it's 301,354. So the golf revenue is down 33,083 year-to-date at the end of March versus year-to-date at the end of March of 2024. Now, the good news with this is that if you fast forward and look at the end of April, instead of being down $33,083 year-to-date at the end of April, they had closed that gap, and now they're only down about $360 year-to-date. So they have really almost just wiped out that deficit year over year in terms of the decrease in the revenue. And then with golf expenditures, obviously 169,400 extra salary benefits, all other expenses, 120,273, those two added together, 289,673 golf expenditures. At the end of March of 2024 is 260,607, so expenditures are up 29,066, but obviously that's something we expect and budgeted for in golf expenditures. So the bottom line with golf here is they have a net loss at the end of March of 2025 of 21,402. At the end of March of 2024, they were at $40,747 income, and obviously what's feeding into that is the decrease in the revenue and the increase in the expenses. But if I were to go ahead and claim that $33,000 drop in revenue at the end of March, obviously we won't, but if we did, instead of being a $21,402 loss, then now they're positive. You could think about it kind of like that, by 13,000 or so. Marina right here, I'll just go ahead and focus on this real quickly. So you see Marina, actual revenue 208,629 at the end of March of 2024, it was 33,458. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of renewals. So the renewals have happened more obviously faster this year at the end of March. And the difference is, approximately 175,000 between them. So net income at the end of March of 2025, 202,741. Net income at the end of March of 2024 was 31,180. Obviously, that's basically all related to just the timing difference of people renewing this year versus last year. It's expedited. Now, the last thing that I'm going to hit on right here and I'll just go quickly back to the financial statements. Okay, so we'll talk about trees here real quick. So you'll notice, like, if you look at the December statements, January statements, February statements, in this capital column right here is regulatory compliance. That's where the tree expenses were in terms of like year to date during the month. It would be in here too for the month to date. But you'll notice these are now zeroed out. It's like, where did those expenses go? Well, they went into the operating portion of this column. Now it's in operations, as I've talked about before. And so what I did, this is one thing that I said I was going to do, and I'll go ahead and show you what I did. So in the future, if anyone ever looked back at these financial statements, you'll see so we're looking at ACC Security Department, that's where hazardous trees costs are. And normally, everything goes into this unless we have a UDR code where we're deflecting hazardous tree costs to. You'll see the 6165 GL, hazardous tree removal pruning. And I created two new GLs. One is this 6166, which says November 2024 storm comment area tree removal. If I were to run the December set of statements, you would see 6166 and GL 6167, which says November 2024 storm roads tree removal. So the thing is, if anyone looks back at the December statements or January, February, whatever, you'll always be able to see the costs that were specifically related to that November 2024 storm comment area, or the storm event, both by common area and roads. So it's not just placed into 6165 and it all gets commingled, and it would be very difficult to tell unless you look at the GL what was what. It'll be neatly separated. So you'll see right here at the end of March, which is another issue. So at the end of March of 2025, we had $28,455 rounded hazardous tree costs. Then we also had $30,029 rounded November 2024 storm common area tree removal costs. Obviously, these costs were done these tree removals were done in 2025, but they were paid as, the culprit was the storm that caused that tree damage situation where they had to remove some of these trees. So that's why those costs coming up in 2025 will still go to the 6166. At this point, I think, maybe Mike would know, I think this is pretty much really dying down for the most part, like tree removals specifically related to the storm event going on in common area. And, okay, so you'll see that we have $100,000 budget right here, annual budget for tree removal costs and operations. Now, obviously, with these two added together, since there is no budget for this GL in here, but you can kind of think of those two costs as one, in a sense, even though it's split out, they're still one. So now we're up to $58,480-some tree removal costs at the end of March. So where I'm going with this is eating into this $100,000 budget very quickly. And obviously, in May, we're up around 100, actually, I'll show you. So at the end of, so year to date, May so far, what's gone through the AP ledger, so we're up to $126,597 in tree removal costs in 2025. $88,237 of that is specifically related to the 2024 storm event, and $38,360 related to the just regular hazardous tree removal. So we've already exceeded the budget now by $26,597. So in the future, we will be bringing a UDR request to the board to set up a project for UDR to shift some of these costs away from operations and into UDR. Right now, going back to the financial statements, you'll see in UDR we do have approximately $351,850 net usable cash that we could tap into for UDR. And also, in terms of now the trees, so here's a little chart, put together, total tree removal costs that you can see going back to 2014. And you can see at Sun Valley, obviously the real dramatic one in this 2024 was related to a storm, to that 2024 storm bomb cyclone, and just regular tree removal costs.
You want to share that screen?
Oh, you can't see that.
Yeah. Pretty self-explanatory. Kind of looks like the stock market.
Yeah, that's actually why I chose that.
Yep, and then
I was going to do a bar chart, but then I thought, no, I think that's a more descriptive way to look at it.
Oh, jeez.
So so you'll see that's what it looks like, like going back from 2014 and through, and the last point is just through year-to-date May of 2025. So May of 2025, we were already on course to be about year-to-date through 2021 for the entire year. And then if I go back to this table, you'll see this is what it looks like from year to year, 2014 through May of 2025. So, like even if we look back just only to 2021,
Yeah.
we're over $1 million in tree removal costs, $1,074,165.
How much did we take in those 2 years, 23, I can't see very well.
Which 2 years?
Year 21 and 20, if you add 21 and 22 together.
So that's,
No, not that one. No, you're 2021, I want 21 and 22.
350 or 343.
you want 21 and 22,
Yeah.
343,000 for 2021 and 2022.
Yeah.
And 2020, where the cost really picked up around 2021, yeah, $1,074,165. So, and then obviously this chart is just now you can see it visually, it's quite a bit of money. And this chart is combining everything, like anything that was paid out of operations, out of UDR, in this case, the November 2024 storm event as well, which is also in operations. It's just showing you all the tree removal costs. And then this tab breaks it down, like, operations, the 2 storm events, and the last row here is UDR expenditures. So in 2022, we had a UDR request, the total of, I believe those were 2 separate ones, of $142,202 in 2022. 2024, $55,000. So, yeah, so that just gives you an idea, gives you a very clear picture where we stand with tree removal.
Well, in the Finance Committee, a couple months ago, we had a pretty lengthy discussion about how much do we need to increase that line item in the budget?
Yeah.
And that's a hard question to answer, but clearly it needs to be higher than 100,000.
Oh, yeah, clearly, like just looking at these numbers here, I'd say that.
102 or 350 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we had another storm event, that hit like what we did last year.
Yeah, hope not.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go.
Especially for people who had those trees land on their homes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joel. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, if you have any question.
I just have a couple of them. So when I look at rec and pools, for the 3 months, they've been over like 21, it's just early in the year. They're 21,000 over budget for January to March. It's about 7,000 a month. What's causing that?
Okay, so the big thing with rec and pools, without even turning to that page, because I know where it is. I mean, for the most part, it's going to be Kyle's salary costs, because we did not, now we have the manager in rec. And when we did the budget, we didn't have a manager budget in there, so we just flat out don't have the budget line item for him, but the costs are there. And unfortunately, there's really nothing we can do about it at this point, meaning in the 2026 budget, we can now build in that budget line.
Just was curious what was
Yeah.
causing that. The next question I have is, it's on page 21, it's the UDR. You have it closed out, it's 262404. It's the legal expense for past due accounts collection, and you have it closed out. We're still signing checks
Yes.
where so have we gone beyond that now?
I mean, I mean, that's a good question, because once in a while I'll see a check come through the AP, process that's put to that GL code.
Yep.
And then what I do, like, for example, when I do these financial statements, this happened in March to where we've gone over that 20,000. So then I take that out of there and reclassify it back to operations, just a normal GL 7020.
Do you know how much we've gone over? Because I don't think we're to the end of that yet either.
Oh, I could easily see, because I know,
Okay.
I could easily see in the GL.
It just would be nice to know what that is, since it's now, the rest of it's going into operations.
Yeah, so you can basically think about it at this point, since we've run out of available budget, now it's
Yep.
becoming a normal legal expense.
I have a question about the quiet pools. Do you know if all of the available days that people could reserve, is it sold out?
We'd have to ask Kyle that.
Yeah, that's correct.
We can find that out, just send me an email, Rob, and get it for you.
Okay, you sure?
I do know it's not all sold out.
Oh.
I was looking at some dates.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, I was curious, we raised the fee on that. I was just curious if there's, just how that could work itself out.
Any additional questions? All right, Joel, thank you very much.
Sure.
We'll move on to item number 5C, which is committee updates. We'll start with Daniel, the Architectural Control Committee.
Yeah, no real big updates, business as usual. I did want to clarify on construction hours because there was some confusion on the e-blast. With the 2025 revisions to our AC policies, construction hours are Monday through Friday, 8 AM till 6 PM. It had previously been, I think, 7 PM, so we're giving you an extra hour of silence from the circular saws and jackhammers.
Good.
So yeah, that came out, there was a wrong posting on the e-blast a few weeks ago, but it has been corrected, but I did want to clarify that.
Didn't you turn it back to even on the weekends? It's still, in the evening, it's still 6 o'clock, it's not.
5,
It's 5, okay.
yeah, Sundays.
That was a change that was, I just want to clarify.
Yeah, I think some of the things that you're taking out of the bylaws.
Yeah.
were,
Out of the board policies.
And you already gave us an SDR task force update. Kind of.
Yeah,
It's the meeting upstairs.
yeah, meeting Wednesday at 5.
Okay, excellent, thank you very much.
Yeah, we've got 6 members that are eager to get going on that.
Will the STR meeting be Zoomed?
Yes, it will. Spencer will help us out with that.
All right, document review, Linda?
So we tried real hard to have our first meeting yesterday and Zoom would not unmute me. It wouldn't let me unmute myself. When it would go and say, would you like me to unmute you? And I'd say, yes, let me use that. And it would still go, nope, can't hear. So so we are rescheduling that. It's gonna be, and I'll tell Tiny, I spoke with Ann, we need to just simply reschedule for I think it's the 25th of June. And I'll do that and get a new agenda out.
Thank you very much. All
Just
right,
a quick question.
yes, sir, Rob?
Linda, maybe I sent it to you guys as an email, but I have some questions about where our documents reside. So for example, like the N&E manual, I know there's a lot of policies and whatnot, but where do the master copies reside?
That's a question for staff. It's on the H drive or whatever is the main drive, I'm assuming.
So
It's
that's,
there, they post it so that you can see the rules online.
right,
But where it resides, I'm assuming is in, I'm gonna say the H drive, because it's the only
what
drive I
is the
know.
H drive? Is that like a portion of somebody's hard drive on it?
No,
It's a network drive
It's a network
shared by
drive.
the organization.
Oh, so we have a network server in the Welcome Center?
Not in the Welcome Center, I think it's now off-site. I think we've gotten away from storing our stuff
Perfect.
on-site. I think Joanne handled that before she left. Michael probably would know the answer to that.
Thank you.
Spencer does.
Thank you.
Yeah, Spencer, do you want to answer, or can you offer?
We don't need to take a bunch of time, it's just, we had a little trouble locating one of our files, and so, well, I can talk to you guys offline.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, moving on next to Finance Committee, Rick?
We've been able to meet regularly and as I was sharing earlier, we have concerns about enhancing our trees budget in particular. We're also going to be taking a review look at contracts along with the board that are in the process of being listed and kind of get an idea of that aspect of our spending. And we're getting ready to prepare for the budget.
A lot of work. Thank you very much, sir.
And actually, I'm sorry, we do have an opening on the Finance Committee too, and I had shared that with Rob. And so if you know somebody that's good with numbers and financial planning, we would welcome them.
Any questions? Anyone that wants to join the Finance Committee?
Not yet.
Not yet, all right.
Something's open for 30.
All right, Long Range Planning Committee, Roy?
Ready?
Or Ray, excuse me, Roy.
So,
Change your name in case you say anything wrong.
Change his name to protect the innocent.
We've been meeting regularly on Thursdays of the first of the month. We've had good attendance all the way around. We've had a few illnesses along the way, but get good feedback. We were pleased to see that we've got the feasibility study contracted with Carletti. We've been in communication with them. They're pretty active. They're working on like a one floor with multi-purpose as much as possible on the first floor, with an option of some roll-up doors all the way around on two sides, just to kind of like an open feeling type, and with an option for a mezzanine on the second floor to get an adult center and some more meeting rooms. And it doesn't take the whole square footage, but just a small portion, and it's a portion also that could be available for more multi-purpose in a venue that could be rented out. So they're putting that all together. They're still working on the numbers. It looks like a barn from aesthetic wise. They've got some fake barn stuff that around the top keeps it really affordable, and we don't put the real stuff up, some fake stuff, but it looks like a red barn. More to come, looking forward to that. They should have something for us by the end of June, something that we could bring to the board, hopefully in July, I think. Probably right after the 4th of July, we should have something to bring. We're working on that still. In the meantime, because that does take money to do that, we figured that we should be working on projects that we could get other people's money to help us make money. Cool. So we've got 4 projects that we're looking at, and we'll be discussing that at the next board meeting, which is the first Thursday. We got something good and exciting. We're gonna bring it to the board, of course. We're trying to make some revenue for Sudden Valley community. Would be a good opportunity, would be great. So we can keep dues down, that's the whole idea. So we're keeping busy, we're not sitting on our hands by any means, we're working away. 4 committees are very active on this right now.
And do you have openings as well?
I have one opening.
One.
We had a person move from Sudden Valley, unfortunately.
Is somebody also looking at the numbers for barn 8 and where we're going with that?
We have all the numbers on barn 8.
Okay,
We're working on getting the numbers for barn 6.
okay,
So then we have something to propose for
okay,
the
gotcha.
board.
I just wondered if you'd
Yeah.
looked at that, at the whole estimate and stuff that we had from Kingworth.
Yep, we got those numbers. Big numbers,
Uh-huh,
yeah, big numbers. Yeah, we hope to give you a real, something to look at, something we can go forward with in the community. Let's get the facts first,
that's
let's
right.
not jump to conclusions. I mean, that's the whole idea. Lots of people say this and that, but they don't got the facts, it doesn't make no sense.
Yep.
Let's get the facts so we can have a good presentation that's got the facts. So,
And people should join your meetings too. They're all online. They can watch them on YouTube if there's questions. There's board packets, they can read all this information that we all have.
it's all documented,
Yep.
and then the minutes are documented. We have got some feedback from our emails, not a whole lot, but some gave some good ideas, for sure. We're trying to go forward.
Thank you very
We
much.
appreciate the opportunity, all the people are volunteering just like this. Rick helps me tremendously on this, he is the amazing guy for minutes and details, man, he keeps me in line, so I thank you, Rick, for that. Appreciate that.
Can anybody keep you in mind? No.
It's a big job.
That's right.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, question, as far as barn 6 goes, back in 2023, November of 2023, we put a vote to the community on what to do with that piece of property. And the community selected an open-air pavilion, and I'm wondering how we got from that to design, pre-design on a new 2-story structure.
Well, go ahead if you want to answer that, but I know the height of the building itself allows it to be a 2-story, it could easily be a 2-story building, just the height of the existing barn. And then the idea of having the open, closed idea, I think was answered with having roll-up doors. So in inclement weather, you could roll the doors down, so it still could be usable downstairs. And in the summertime, or for farmers markets or whatever like that, you could roll the doors up and have, like an open air pavilion type structure. This is my take on it.
Yeah, actually, the first floor is about the same as it was. The need to add some added items is the adult center is a big need. It's like 1/3 of our community's seniors. And then we continually see the increased costs of what it's gonna take Barn 8 to get together. And then there will be some shutdown time. So, this will all be laid out, but real world, you have 4 million going on this building, be shut down and build something new, maybe we can build it and use it, and then where that's being used and not heavy maintenance because it's all brand new, and then possibly get Barn 8 back up to speed.
I
You know, that's how that
I agree with
happened.
the Part 8 situation, it's just that according to the minutes, the first option, which was the open air pavilion, wasn't gonna require a special assessment.
Correct.
And
Since it wasn't a two-story building.
what's that?
Since it wasn't a two-story building,
Yeah.
with
There's one there
with an
that's-
elevator and all that extra stuff.
Correct, this is definitely added on, more needs of the community, we're trying to meet needs for everyone here. And we're just researching it, nothing's in stone, we'll bring.
Not with the
It's not even
community.
a proposal yet.
Correct, I voted for it too, I was here. A
That's
lot of
not-
things get voted don't happen, but I
You
mean,
know, how do we
needs
present this to
change.
the community without them getting as pissed off as they did about the purchase of the Walker Center?
well, we're gonna bring a presentation to the board, you'll be able to hear it. And then if you think, no, we can't tell nobody because it's too good a news, or not good news, then stop here.
I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do, it seems to be coming off weird.
Didn't happen.
I think the thing that's changed, at least from my perspective, is number one, the 2023 vote was an advisory vote. It wasn't a standing vote. It said in the measure the board has no obligation to act upon it. What has since all of this has occurred is when I read that structural report and when I sat here and listened to them give that structural report, it certainly opened my eyes. It is, we need so much stuff. We need over $2 million worth of work on this building. And in parts of it, it says that we have to be out of it for at least six weeks.
I agree with you.
When they take everything apart upstairs, let's just take the ceiling, all those nice pretty boards all come down.
Right.
But then, after they fix it, they have to all go back up, or an alternative they put up in its place. So it's expensive. The dance floor, which is above our heads, they're gonna take it all apart. This will probably have to be opened up at the same time, I'm assuming. And then, once they fix that all, we'll probably put down a brand new dance floor, because that one's kind of in bad shape. But it's like, it's all this stuff that takes this time, that since I've looked and listened to Kingworks and read the report, it's like, it's possible we're gonna have this closed for a long period of time, and what do?
I agree.
Do we pitch a tent?
I think $2 million is gonna be woefully inadequate.
It may be, and
It's gonna be
even,
like scraping paint off and finding lead paint underneath.
Yeah,
yeah,
You know, what we
It's an
see
estimate.
is gonna be a disaster.
yeah. And Tyler has told us that, and so has Kingworks, but it's a reality I think we all need to look at, and it's certainly changed how I've looked at things to go, well, especially when you have even rough estimates that are like, well, you can pay me now for this or you can pay me now for that. But there's always the pay me now and pay me later, but the numbers are getting awfully close together. When we did that 2023 bid measure, there were documents we got that were from Carlotti and the company that we're working with now, but it was for the roll-up, it's sort of a thing. And that was $2,100,000 worth of stuff. So I'm awfully close.
Well, I think what caught my attention in that presentation was, when, personally for me, when I asked the questions around, survivability of a large earthquake, I think I said 7 point, and a lot of engineers will always give you the, well, it depends. And I understand, because a lot of times it depends on where the data goes, but when I just asked that engineer, would you be in here, would you be comfortable being in here in a 7.0? And he didn't really answer the question, I could tell the look on his face, no, you know, so, I mean, I would, for me, it's all about safety in here. And usability, I mean, there, all of these posts in here, like if we go into the gym, we lose so much space because, I mean, this was built for barn animals, frankly.
True.
And we lose so much space in that gym and whatnot. I mean, it boils down to me, to proposals and what's it gonna cost my family or my neighbors. It could be that we can't afford it, but at least we ought to have an open mind and look at all the proposals and use facts and data to.
No, I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying.
And I get what you're saying too, Tom, once you come out the welcome center. Difference in the welcome centers, we just went and bought it, we didn't ask anybody if we believe that we should or not.
Or even have to praise.
We just did it, you know, and.
My concern is the perceptions of the community. I think they're gonna be expecting something different than what's gonna be presented to them.
Yeah, I get it, and good on you for bringing that up too, you know, I mean, we need to hear those perspectives, absolutely.
And that's all I got.
So you're next, Rob, N&E Committee.
Evening, everybody. So the committee has been meeting regularly. One of the things that we did early on was, I shared with the committee, it really struck home when Rich Davis was talking about making sure that we're not all calling Michael at the same time, or, you know, and then some years past, especially we started getting into June and really in the July timeframe when things really start ramping up. We don't want committee members calling and asking for some help with something. It needs to be disciplined and so we're not driving your staff crazy, Michael. And so what we did, one of the things we did was we listed out all of our roles and responsibilities, primarily at a tier 1 level out of the N&E manual, and we made who is responsible, who's gonna be the point person. And what I said was, guys, if you need help with something, contact me, let me know what we need. We'll let Keith know what help we need, or maybe if things are really ramping up, but there's a single point of contact that's communicating. I know when we started talking about the UniLect contract, I think I was given kind of free rein to contact Michael. So that's one of the things that we've worked out. Another is, when we were putting our notebooks together, we realized that we needed to make some tweaks to minor tweaks to the N&E manual. I really want to thank Director Bradley and Michael and staff for helping with those things. We're going to talk about that tonight, so I'm not going to get into a whole lot of discussion about that. Also, I followed up when we were first talking about hybrid online voting with UniLect. They had offered to put a test election so we could all experience it. And as a result, we wanted to do that like in February, I think, and then I think maybe March, I forget, but I think a meeting got canceled and I wanted to make sure we didn't forget about it. So I sent a note to UniLect asking if we could do that, and then we started, I thought we'll keep it simple, and then Director Bradley was like, yeah, why don't we make it more of exactly what we kind of see in our ballot, so it'd be kind of apples for apples. I gotta say, Linda, we call you Director Bradley, but Director Bradley, we on the N&E Committee, we value your input and help with us so much. Thank you for that. And everybody in the committee appreciates it. So we'll be talking more about this test election. whole idea so we can experience, we can articulate it, we can talk to our neighbors. And my next item is we're drafting some articles for the View, some sample e-blasts that we'll be asking for some help from staff. And we want to be prepared. We've been talking about maybe doing a little video or something, sort of frequently asked questions, maybe trying some different communication tools. What else do I have here? And finally, we also have an open position as well. So if somebody wants to get involved and likes being part of a friendly committee, we have fun. So that's it. Oh, and Linda, I did send you late, I sent you this more of a detailed report, so if you want to have it in minutes. It's there.
I will, if you,
Thank you.
if
I did
it's in my
send it.
email, I'll take a look at it.
Like, somehow Word wasn't behaving real well with an Apple update that I just did, so I sent it to you to Google Doc. But that's what I got, Keith.
Thank you, Rob, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Director Gibbs. All right, Safety Committee, Rick, or Director?
Yes, our safety committee has been meeting regularly, and we have a very ambitious group on our committee. They really want to do a lot of stuff. Tom is the other director on the committee, and has been good support. So we had a meeting last Thursday. We did a recap on the May 12th wildfire prevention workshop that went really well.
That was great, well done,
Yeah.
well done.
50 people there. A lot of great questions, a lot of new owners, new members of the community. We felt like that went really well. It has been recorded, it's on our YouTube channel. So if you didn't have a chance to see it, you can go and watch that. Robert Walters, again, is inviting residents to invite him for home inspection to kind of get ideas on how to better kind of fireproof or minimize fire risk around your homes. The fire chief apologized again for how slowly things are moving, but he's hopeful that the fire station will be up and running sort of soon. He didn't commit to any date, but so that went really well. We're in the process of planning, final stages of planning of June 23rd. We made an announcement about with the go bags and emergency evacuation or stay in place kind of direction, training. We anticipate good participation on that. That also will be recorded. We also have a member of the committee who's been very interested in advocating for water safety. And so he, committee kind of brainstormed and thought, well, how about, we had a scout project last year, how about we reach out to the scouts? And sure enough, there's somebody who wants to do an eco project and build a loaner rack for life jackets. DNR will provide the life jackets for free to us, by probably taxpayer dollars, so it's not really free, but it's free to SVCA, let's say. And they'll replace them if they wander off. We have some monies to purchase the materials. Scouts will do the work. They've met with Mike Brock, select a site down near the marina, near the kayak racks, I believe. And we hope to have that completed in June. Depends on the Scouts' schedule and that. And we're also, there's been a lot of interest on committee about evacuation routes. Because of the limited numbers of roads in and out of the Sudden Valley and the various gates, concerns about are there other options to escape in the time of an emergency. And so we're going to be actually setting up a meeting with Matt Klein and Mitch Noltz, GM, and some of the safety committee members and potentially board members if you're interested, to start that discussion about where we go and how to manage that sort of thing. So that's coming up soon as well. We've also had some discussions about the safety issue in terms of speeding, especially in relation to school buses, but just generally as well. And we have one community member who's actually recorded a lot of this stuff and has been having dialogue with our general manager about that and trying to come up with some ideas on that. And Tom's been researching some on that, and so he and Michael and I thought it was very interesting that Tyler brought up in their discussions about the consideration of having some county maintained roads that would allow the sheriff to come in and start enforcing some safety. So I'm sure that's kind of a give and take kind of thing, but it's an interesting proposition, I think. I think that's about it. Anything else, Tom?
No, that's about it. The speeding problem is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And it's bigger than most of us realize.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna wait until some kid gets hit or there's a bad accident. You need to act on this. So we're coming up with ideas, and evidently, a few years back, North Smith bought 3 digital speed limit signs. And we're gonna start looking for them, see if we can find them.
We have them?
No, we got an update from, well, Linda got it. Do you wanna give him the recap, or do you want me to, since he forwarded it? Go ahead. Apparently, those signs were never purchased. They were rented for a short time to, I have a long text from Norm Smith, who used to work here, but they were never purchased.
Okay.
And I can send you the information that he sent us.
Well, if we didn't purchase them, there's no sense in looking at them.
So, yeah, they're not here. He had some options for another company and thought you should talk to Tyler because he uses those signs and maybe he could help you get some that were a better price. But I'll forward that. Linda forwarded it to me, I'll forward it to you.
Okay.
Both of you.
Rick, one thing you guys might wanna consider for evacuation routes is water. Maybe that's something the entire lakeshore could get around, is if there was an emergency, using the lake to, I don't know whether to go over to Ball Down Donovan to offload people, but like during Katrina, there was, I forget what they referred themselves to, but there was a lot of boats that went into New Orleans to evacuate people. And if we need to get out, at least some of these other gates, we could come down the marina.
Yeah.
Just a thought, I don't even,
Yeah, no.
brainstorming an idea.
That has been brought up. The fire chief was adamant in saying you don't want to be on the lake with a fire emergency. The other emergencies maybe, but he said fire and smoke and pollutants tend to hang right down on the lake.
Okay.
So you don't
Go
want
to
to be
the
on
lower
the
altitudes.
Sure.
You'll suffocate.
But for other emergencies, earthquake or whatever,
Yeah.
that would make a lot of sense.
There was something interesting that came out of the Firewise. This struck me probably more than seeing the stuff I've seen before, is the fire chief made a point, and there's a special app that anybody that has a phone, or even if it's on your computers at home, it's early alert, and it will warn you of, and I think Timmy has some of the information, I think Rick too. I
There'll
asked
be an
if-
article in the Views.
They're gonna have an article in the Views. What's amazing is this app is there. It will tell you about earthquakes, it'll tell you about fire, it'll tell you about snow or dangers like that. Out of all of the people that live here in the valley, only 300 people are signed up for that.
It's called
And it's
Alert
like,
Sense.
it's the biggest thing you can do to protect your own family and be proactive for things that can be so utterly devastating.
Yeah.
You know, and it was something that really struck me, and I hope we can work at it to encourage people. If we even had one person out of each household, but only 300 people out of the whole community, I went home and immediately put it.
People didn't know about it, people didn't know about it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be in the Views, I believe.
Get
Yeah,
the
do
news
that.
article reviews with
Okay.
QR code and hyperlink.
It's just, it's something we can do for ourselves and we definitely should for our families. It's there and I know he has a lot of faith in it and the reporting and how well it works for people.
It's an app? Is it an app or is
Yeah.
it a website?
Yeah,
Alert sense.
Alert Sense. okay.
And Linda, this one also is free, it's called Watch Duty.
Yeah.
You gotta get this one as well. This is the one that we used in Northern California when my community was threatened with the park fire last August.
Uh-huh.
And it's live, I just brought it up for where we're
So
at.
what's it called again?
Watch Duty.
Duty?
Yeah, watch duty like it's your duty to watch.
Gotcha, I will
So I'm
look it
looking
up.
at real time and you can see the wind direction, the air
Oh,
quality.
neat.
It shows any active fires and then you can put in an area that you want it to warn you.
Specific.
And it'll send you those alerts. And
Yeah, I'll
this
look at
one's
that too.
free as well, called
You
Watch.
know, and it's maybe something that we need to start doing for our community so that people can help themselves as much as
A
they can and
question?
their families.
Stu wanted to say something.
Oh, okay.
go ahead, Stu.
Yeah, I'm this is all important discussion and stuff, but I'm kind of a little confused about the point of the updates. I mean, typically an update is the committees give an update of what's going on, and then when they bring a proposal to the board, that's when it gets discussed, not during the update. We've got a full agenda ahead of us, guys, and we're already almost 2 hours into it. So I'm just a little confused at what the point of the. Are we here to discuss the things, or the updates, they're making recommendations, or are they literally just updates and we're discussing it just because it's on everybody's mind?
You're correct, Stu, it should just be updates and move along, but, thank you for that, I appreciate that. All right, so we're done with moving, with the updates, moving on to item number 6, continuing business is hybrid voting update. That's Rob?
Yeah, so, UniLect is prepared to, set up a test election for us. And Linda was kind enough to, create a sample ballot, which was a typical ballot that we would see for an AGM. And, you guys will see it in there, there's, each position, each one of our positions that we vote for, those are in it. Some fictitious names, a bylaw amendment and a measure. So this would be something that they could put together, they would open up. This would really emulate what we would experience in terms of hybrid voting. I want to say again, every homeowner, every member in the HOA is going to receive printed materials with the option that they could use this hybrid voting or this online voting. So we would go in as a board, and the N&E Committee would do so as well. And they would open up the poll, if you will. They'd open up the election. We would go in and do our vote. They would close it and they would tabulate it, and then we would see the results. So we'll see on our computers what our members would see during the voting period for our AGM. And that's what is the intent, is so that we experience it.
Do we have a date when we're gonna expect this?
Well, we wanted to do it during the board meeting, I think, where we
Well,
had done it.
no, I wanted to explain to everybody what they're gonna do.
Okay.
And then if there's not anything, just pick a day next week sometime.
Okay.
Unless, people are gonna be away or they don't look, it's online, so duh. It's just Andrew needs a time, a day or hours or whatever that we wanna be able to vote.
Yeah, he could keep that poll, he could keep that period, that poll open for several days if we wanted, which would emulate what we're gonna experience. I mean, our voting period is several weeks. So we would just tell Andrew, it's Monday from midnight Monday through, Friday at 11:59.
We should
whatever
ask
it is.
him if it wants to be a long time, because I got the idea from some of his emails that it was kind of like, give me a few hours here, and I don't know about that, and that's why I wanted the board to be able to have a discussion as a whole.
And some of that could be, those guys are really busy right now. They hadn't got back to us quite as quickly because they were traveling. They're always out doing election stuff. So, what do you guys want? Do you guys want just a day or?
Just a day for it to be open, or 2 days, is that enough? For you to have it open for a couple of days where you'll get, because there'll be one day he has everybody's email, so he knows to send, and I'm assuming that email will come from UniLect to us, and that will have the link into the voting thing, into the voting program, because it's with, what is it?
It's easy, it's
Something
like
or other, buddy.
Easy Voter. They use a client to do it, and they're authorized users of it. They only have the access to it for the back end for their company. All of our votes are, I'm having a see every moment. All of our voting data is encrypted. Each one of you will receive a unique link. It's not like there's this single Sun Valley link, and everybody who opts in either during the AGM or during our test has a unique link that is issued to them.
So do you have a choice to do either paper or electric, or you're
Yes.
opting in for electronic only?
It's just, no, you wanna do a paper ballot, hey, no problem, you can even vote in person on the day of the election.
So when
Nothing's
the
changed.
ballot goes out, will it have that link, so I'll do it electronically, so,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
So each ballot will have its own link then?
Yes.
I've asked Rob way back in, March, and maybe I'll do it, or you need to do it. There's an email that has a really good video that explains the whole process from Election Buddy, that maybe it would be nice to just send to the whole board, and then they'll know what it'll look like
I'll do
for
that
when
right
the
now.
members get their ballots.
Yeah, I'll do that right now. And the video also has capability in it that does not apply to us.
Yeah.
It would be like for a union or something like that. So just, when you watch the video, it'll get to a point where it'll be very obvious that it doesn't apply to us. The thing that we really were very careful, Keith, because you were asking about paper, ability to still vote by paper. We were very careful. We said to them, if I was to vote electronically, and then I turned around and went, you know what, did I do that or not? And then sent a paper ballot. They have the data, the vote itself is encrypted, but they can see the identifier that go, just like our ballots that go to my property. They can see, oh, this electronic vote came on this earlier date than the paper, and they disregard the paper because our rules are we take the first vote, okay? And that's happened. We've had people send 2 ballots, they got a replacement ballot, they've sent 2. Lynn, I don't know if you've ever seen where someone wanted to come in and vote day of the AGM when they've already sent in a ballot. But
That's happened
I
before,
bet it
and we
has.
tell them that their husband's been in or their wife has been in and
Yeah.
voted their property.
Yeah, so that's all built into their process, and one of the things that's good about working with them is they know our process really well, so they had anticipated these questions. It wasn't like they said to us, hey, have you thought about online hybrid voting? We actually brought it up and said, is that something we're kind of thinking about, and they said, well, yeah, we're prepared to do it. Michael's experienced it over at Suncadia, so it's the thing that made me feel good was knowing that some people may say, I just want to keep voting the way I did for the last 20 years, and that's the way I want to vote. That they can do that. With with me, you send me something in paper, and I'll probably lose it in 48 hours. I'm an electronic person, so I'm gonna opt into it. And it'll be really interesting to look at the data, like how did we see an increase in people voting?
Yeah, that's what I really make
Yeah.
to see as well.
Yeah,
So I would say maybe 2 days.
2 days,
Yeah.
maybe get a
That's it.
hold of
2 days.
Andrew tomorrow and maybe Tuesday and Wednesday next week.
next week.
Yeah, to give him time to get with, I don't know how far he's gone with, I'm sure he's already put together an electronic.
Yeah, he's seen the sale.
He's already taken this and put it in electronic form, just like they take and put what we give them in their ballot form that they need, the paper ballot form. 'cause
What
it was
about
different.
everybody else? Does Tuesday, Wednesday?
Tuesday, Wednesday work for you all?
AJ, does that work for you, buddy?
Probably.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, if it comes, I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
After the holiday weekend, you better get hold of that guy.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe Wednesday,
Might be
Thursday.
hard to
I
push it out.
think what I'll do is call them tomorrow. So Michael, I'm gonna give them a call tomorrow. I'll let you know what happens out of that conversation with them.
Any other questions for Rob in the hybrid voting?
So Tuesday at midnight through Wednesday,
Wednesday,
11:59.
Wednesday, Thursday. Isn't that what we agreed on? Not
Is it
Tuesday,
what?
Wednesday?
Not Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because of the holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give them
Okay,
extra
perfect.
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
Thursday,
Thursday.
yeah, because it's gonna, I think, yeah,
Yeah,
got
kind
it.
of holiday.
Yeah.
Maybe shut it.
Sounds good, okay, that's what I'll do, and I'll let you guys know, I'll send you an email if anything else comes out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, moving on to item number 7, new business, contract approvals. We have this listed under, for contract approvals, A, 1, 2, 3, and 4 as consent agendas. Consent agenda item. Have you guys all had the time to look at those? Do we need to pull anything out in particular?
I'm,
So you're just asking us to blanket vote on all these contracts?
What's that?
You're asking us to blanket vote on all these contracts?
Yeah, I was asking if you've had time to review them or not. If you haven't, then we can go through one at a
There's no
time.
memos on half of them even?
I'm sorry?
There's no memos even provided for half of them, like explaining?
well, Sesco isn't operational,
All right, we'll go through,
All right.
we'll go through.
I'm
each
just
one.
saying, normally we should see memos attached to stuff that comes to us.
2 and 4 have approval memos, AJ.
Yeah.
Susco is an operational and CTK lease renewal is a renewal of something you've had in place since 2010. So I can explain those to you.
Yes, thank you, Michael.
Sure.
Do we have questions? Anybody need to hear about Sesco for the swimming pools?
you know, it looks
Okay.
much like their bid from last year, it's just that they gave us a bid, but it came in over our budget last year, just by the time we were out, when all was said and done. But just, it's there, looks the same, the same things are covered.
Okay, moving on to item number 2, which is the ACC Inspector Engagement Agreement.
Mr. President, would you like me to present that?
Yes, sir.
So, for those who have had a chance to read the packet, Joel Carter is retiring after his time with us. And we have been, the last 2 months, looking for a qualified replacement. We've interviewed several candidates. One, however, this gentleman, Jerome Gangle, stands out, and he comes recommended by Joel. He is a bit younger than Joel, but he is academically qualified as well as very brilliant, and he will, I think, be able to fill that position very well. And he'll have training time with Joel Carter at a reduced rate, and we were able to negotiate a lower hourly rate for him, $25 an hour lower than Joel's. But, you know, again, in 2021, the ACC identified the need for a qualified consultant to conduct the architectural inspection. So The attached agreement ensures the continuation of these services previously provided by Joel, who served for almost 3 years. So, you know, the benefits, of course, in engaging a qualified contractor are that we have access to a professional with specialized education, qualifications, and experience. We can scale the cost, we can align it with seasonal construction demands. There have been some thought given to the notion of creating a position for this. We have a full-time year-round position. While the hourly rate, you know, of 150 an hour seems like a big number, that is, if you compare it to the loaded labor of a $35 an hour, $40 an hour union position, and then load the benefits on top of that, full-time year-round, 2,080 hours, you're actually higher than the estimate that we're looking at. Joel Carter last year, his numbers, I think if we take the rolling 12 months, the costs posted to that are about 110,000. So we estimate with this total of, including his training time, projected total cost for 680 hours to be at about 102,000. So again, with the increased new home construction, the number of projects we have going right now, and the fact that Alan Heldagian and Diane Bruno are not qualified to go out on site and do these inspections along with the type of knowledge and experience that, you know, a county code inspector is going to have as well. So Mr. Jerome Gang was our recommendation, and if you have any questions concerning the request memo, please let me know.
Yep, I have one question, and it would be more for Joel than any other question. Are our fee structures enough to cover the salary? I mean, that's.
Well, like for example, I can tell you in December 2024, so annual budget was 75,000 for the new home construction fees, and obviously we raised the fees. So at the end of 2024, we actually took in 263,150, so we were better than budget by 188,150.
Thank you for answering my question. AJ?
Well, I just think it's a lot of money, and we had previously we had created a planner position to start to take over some of this work internally, but that's been moved into a compliance manager position, which apparently they're not capable of absorbing this workload like we had planned for a planner, like a county planner, to actually do. And what you just compared was a full-time job to a 0.3 FTE position. This is a $300,000 a year contract if it was a full-time position, not $100,000. So that's a bigger rate of pay than what we're paying you even, technically. I think we made a big mistake getting rid of the environmental planner position, and I think we should consider moving back to something like that, and I think that position could have given us a lot more benefit than a compliance manager. And I'm not in favor of this contract.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a couple.
Linda?
So this number that you've given us here for cost and timeline is for the 680 hours is for a full year, correct?
Yeah.
So we're looking basically, if he starts June 1st, we're looking at half the year.
Well,
So
yeah,
half,
depends on when you need them, so.
I know, and it's based on, it's not gonna be necessarily full-time.
Correct.
The other thing that I have a question about that I don't care for in this contract is the very end of it. That it says rates apply from June 1st, 2025 to May 31st, 2026. Subsequent years' rates may be adjusted by mutual agreement. I don't believe that. I believe it needs to be an amended contract if he needs hours beyond that. Joel Carter worked for us for the rate that he gave us back when he started and never asked for an increase. And so I would say that if if for some reason he comes back to us after May 31st of 2026 and decides he needs more than $150 an hour for the work that he's doing, you need to get an amended contract to him because he is a subcontractor. It isn't like we're hiring a maintenance manager or anything like that. He's truly a subcontractor. The last thing that I had a question about was, it says something about the GM signing, and I think the GM has signed before, but on this document, it's got Keith's name to sign it, not the general manager. So I just would like some clarification on that of who's gonna sign it, that's all.
So Linda, what area on the contract page would you like to see strike?
33, page 33, the last line.
Okay,
Starting with subsequent years.
You know, because then if it's mutual agreement, whose mutual agreement? Is it the general manager? And just all of a sudden, we see a rate increase for the next budget year, and then we go, where did this come from? And it's like, oh, we made this agreement. It just should, since he is a subcontractor, it should be subcontracted, not that it's just a mutual agreement.
noted,
Yeah.
and I did put the signature as a director, because of the fact that this is a $100,000 conceivable contract, so.
Yeah, because it
that
does
is
have, it
over
does have,
my budget authority. in
yeah,
my-
I was gonna say, and it has Keith's name on it, it's just, it's kind of like, well, wait a minute, who's gonna sign for this? It says here.
AJ?
You go.
Oh, thanks, AJ.
First, okay.
Just two questions. I'm trying to understand the statement of work. When I was on ACC, there was I forgot his name, there was a gentleman that, when there was new construction, he went through all the architectural drawings and ensured that that everything met our requirements. Came to the ACC, taught that. He also went out to the building sites and did the Sun Valley inspections. Is this the one?
Yes,
that
that's
this is gonna be?
exactly what this is.
Okay, and the $150 an hour, is that market rate? Is that kind of what is, for this type of work, is that what people are being paid to?
Currently, we're paying Joel Carter $175. That was the contract you negotiated with him 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Okay,
And so I would guess that, I mean, I can't comment on it, I wasn't here 3 years ago.
right.
Yeah, you experienced Joel's work, you work with him, ACC does, so. Do you think that Diane or Alan can handle what Joel's doing?
No, they couldn't handle that. Joel's help on the ACC has been invaluable. He's really helped us out. And he puts the time in and does the homework for us before our meetings. And if we have questions, he always has the answers. I mean, I'm not saying that's the position, but Joel has been great. And I would hope that any replacement would be a Joel phone.
Very quick follow-up, AJ, just a really quick follow. So when I was in that ACC, the gentleman that we worked with had been a builder and had very, very succinct knowledge in county. Our staff isn't gonna be able to do that kind of work, in my opinion, that's just my opinion.
Well, it would be a new position to do something like that.
Well,
Somebody on our staff.
it sounds like it's a replacement position, right?
If we're replacing Joel Carter.
We're replacing Joel.
Yeah.
So, is this the first time is this the first job that this person's had doing this type of work?
Yes, for an HOA, yeah. He's a graduate student going for his doctorate next in urban planning, and yeah, it's a pretty impressive academic resume, CV. Now, Joel Carter knows him personally. So he, beyond the 10 days of training that we have slated here, he will have Joel as a.
And Joel probably told him what his salary is,
I believe, yeah. I mean, I hate to lose Joel, let me tell you. I mean, my understanding of the history that I've been able to find out is that, in all due respect to Director Tischlater, I believe we could not recruit somebody with the qualifications you were looking for back then. I know in the 3 months that I have been recruiting, he was the only candidate who really stood out. Some of it was a joke. I mean, you know, if these guys get paid a lot of money, they probably get paid what you do, AJ, or more, right? Because you're a professional engineer, right? So, I know we need the help.
Just asking the questions.
And if he doesn't work out, he's not an employee, we're not gonna have the employment law issues in terminating and finding somebody else. So,
Contract employee.
I work at board direction, so.
AJ?
I guess the other thing that kind of strikes me as odd is what are we actually signing a contract with? We're signing a contract with a person. This person who's supposedly very qualified isn't even a business. There's no business entity. I'm wondering how he's gonna provide the necessary insurance requirements.
That is
Oh, and he will, that's
He's
a
not a
requirement of
business.
the agreement, yeah.
But how's he gonna do that if he's not a business entity? If he's gonna provide comprehensive general liability?
If not, then you can't execute the contract, so. Joe Carter was able to do it, so.
But Joel had a business,
Correct, yeah.
and the contract was with a business entity. This contract doesn't even have an address on it for a business, it has Jerome Gangle.
Correct.
Or Grangle, or,
Gangle.
Yeah, we're
So it's like-
just seeking board approval at this point, we will fill in the blanks before we sign this, so,
has this contract been reviewed by Richard?
yes.
Any other questions? Okay, we're gonna move on. Do we wanna vote
We have
on
to
each one of
vote.
these
We-
independently then? Since we're going through them one by one, we might as well. So let's go back to, we'll go to 7A1, Cisco Pool Service and Equipment Lease. Make the motion to approve the continued service with Cisco Pool Service.
Second.
Thank you, Rob. All in favor? Cisco, okay, yep, that's, yeah, I can't see, are they, Spencer? Stu and Lori, yes?
Stu raised his
Okay,
hand.
all right, thank you. So that's unanimous. ACC Inspector Engagement Agreement. This is for Michael to move forward, make the motion that Michael move forward with negotiation, not negotiation, but clarifications and to make sure he can get everything stated here. He does have the indemnification and requirements, the insurance, everything is on page 30 that this gentleman will have to provide us. Are we okay with Michael moving forward on that? I'm making the motion.
Second.
Thank you.
What did we just make a motion for?
For Michael to go forward with
To
this.
move forward with
Yep.
what? Yeah,
That's-
it's
here's what it-
incredibly
here-
vague and not.
To move forward?
Here's what the motion says.
Okay, you got
I
it.
move to authorize the general manager to execute the agreement for consulting services for architectural control inspections as presented.
I seconded
That's a
that.
good
Thank
motion.
I read.
I go to the next one. Okay. All in favor?
Any opposed?
Yeah. One opposed, AJ?
I'm opposing that as well. I think we should get the information defined before we vote on it being able to be moved forward.
All right, we have Stu opposed.
Is Lori with us also?
I don't think Lori's with us.
Okay.
Okay, that's approved, a majority. All right, item number 3, CTK lease renewal agreement. Do you have any questions or comments regarding the CTK lease agreement renewal?
I have a question for Joel. Are they holdover right now? Because I
no,
think
actually,
their original lease was up the end
Yeah.
of
actually, so-
2024. And in theory, I'm assuming they did their request to us, but we've never dealt with it. And the new lease that we're approving doesn't begin until January 1st of 2026.
Yeah, so what they did is they signed a one-year extension.
2 years. Yeah, in 2023, you signed a 2-year extension at $1,300 a month.
For 23 and 24.
Correct, which expires on December 31st, 2025. Which
Well, I
is
thought
why
it was
we begin-
2025, I'll have to go look at home, I can't answer.
I have a copy of the wet sign document.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
that's all
why,
I was curious about.
yeah, that's why I put the January 1 date.
And by the way, that's what they've been paying as well, all year, $1,300 a month.
Is it for 2026, this is, how much do they pay this year?
13.
$1,300 a month, and that's what they've.
1,300 and then in 26 it'll go to 1,350 and in 2027, 1,400, right? Got it.
That's correct.
Any other okay, AJ? Oh, I'm sorry, Rick, I didn't see you.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, AJ.
Well, I would just like to state that again, I think we should be getting a memo with this stuff so then that explains to us the changes that have been made. You're saying they're getting a $50 increase?
Excuse me?
They're getting a $50 increase in their rent?
That's correct. On page 34 are the lease terms, AJ, and the rent per month.
So our community has to pay a 7% increase in dues, and these guys only have to pay a 3.8% increase in their rent?
I understand
Seems
that
like a
in
nice perk for them.
2023, you increased you doubled their rent in 2023.
From 650 to
Was my
13.
understanding, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to renegotiate this, just let me know, but we still have 6 more months. I'd be happy to ask your help on that if you like, AJ.
Not really my role to negotiate a lease.
If I could use your expertise.
Think we need to do better.
Well, that was part of the discussion, is it went from 650 to 1,300.
Yeah, 650 wasn't even enough to rent a studio apartment in Bellingham, or even in Sun Valley probably at that time, and they're getting commercial space.
Yeah, for a Sunday, every Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, and other stuff too, and then other benefits as well, just saying.
It's in a building that's got lots of issues, lots of stuff.
This building's been around for 60 years and literally nothing's happened to it. It's been through earthquakes, numerous ones, it's still standing here. So,
Any other comments or questions on CTK lease? All right.
Most of the other stuff is
Do you have a motion
pretty
for
much
that
the
one?
same. No, there is no motion for that one. I would move that the board of directors accept the extension of the CTK Christ the King Community Church for a period of 2 years, beginning January 2026 and ending in December 2027.
Second.
Thank you, Rob. All in favor? AJ, opposed?
I'm opposed.
AJ or Stu?
Stu? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm opposed. I think we should do a little bit of research and see what the going rates for commercial space is.
Okay, thank you, Stuart. All right, so that passes by a majority. There's Stu and AJ opposed. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're both yeses, correct?
Who was the no? Rick is abstaining.
Ray, you were, oh,
Yes.
Rick is abstaining?
Yes.
AJ and Stu with the no votes.
I have to, yeah, but I have to also,
Yeah.
if Rick is abstaining, I have to put that down.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to item number 4, One Digital HR Consult, the renewal agreement contract.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, page 46. The purpose here is to request the board approval of a 6-month renewal contract with One Digital Company for ongoing HR consultant services. You may recall on December 14th, 2024, the board approved $38,500 from the 2025 operational funds for a 6-month retainer contract to provide a $2,500 setup fee and 30 hours monthly HR consulting at $6,000 a month. This engagement expires in June of 2025. We are requesting, as documented in the recent HR report and the strategic plan worksheet prepared by One Digital, we had a full HR audit. SVCA has made significant strides in addressing key foundational HR concerns, and we've completed the milestones listed there for you in the first 6 months. So in alignment with this progress, I recommend, and Diane Bruno recommends, we are the ones who've been working closely with him in the development of getting all of the HR audit issues, that namely documentation, legal compliance. The employee manual had not been updated since 2020, I believe,
2018.
Yeah. So we are looking at reducing our engagement with One Digital from 30 hours to 15 hours a month. I believe that we can take that over at that level and then examine in 6 months if we need to continue with them. So that is our recommendation at this point. That the board of directors authorize us to execute the 6-month retainer with One Digital, including 15 hours of consulting per month to be paid out of 2025 operational funds, which Joel had noted, that's actually was not a budgeted item anyway. So I wanted to reduce it any way possible. I didn't feel I didn't feel comfortable with completely cutting them off at this point and saying that we're ready to take over that HR function, because I am not qualified and Diane is getting up to speed. So HR is the one area, that is fraught with risk, financial risk, and Department of Labor and L&I. You've got to dot your I's and cross your T's here. Not to mention, we've developed a good relationship now with the union. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed, so I don't want that going anywhere.
All right, so the motion is moved that the board of directors authorizes the general manager to execute a 6-month retainer contract with Resourceful, a One Digital company, for 15 hours of HR consulting at $3,000 monthly. That's 15 hours a month, is that correct?
That's correct.
15 hours a month at $3,000 monthly to be paid out of the 2025 operational fund.
Second.
I
Thank
have
you.
a question.
Yes, sir, Rick?
So do you anticipate that in another 6 or 12 months, being able to drop away from this?
I anticipate this will be the last 6 months we'll need to use.
Okay.
I believe at that point, a lot of Diane's work right now has been, you may recall that Joanne wanted her to assume the role of office manager, right? And so her time has been divided between ACC work, which they've got a full plate for her and Alan right now, even with Joel's help. But with this HR audit and onboarding, we just onboarded 40 new employees. And it went smoother than it has ever gone from what they're telling me. And all of the employee files are legal and proper. So, but to answer your question, iSolved, which is our payroll provider, they also have included in their iSolved Hire an HR component that's going to allow us then, when we, in 6 months, to take over the document management, the onboarding, and the service they offer right now is the recruiting, the posting of the job positions, and the scheduling and responding to the applicants. So that we're paying for already. So I'm seeing a phased approach where by the end of the year, we'll be able to wean off this.
Good.
So just,
Rob?
so just a benchmarking kind of, our nonprofit, the Here Now Project, we hired employees this year, so we brought in an HR company to help us with onboarding and manual. We contract with them, same thing, 15 hours, like, and it's the same, it's a different company, but it's, so just giving you, it's not like anybody's coming after us hard.
Thank you,
what we've experienced.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's important about the HR company is they know all the rules of SHRM. And unless you know that, and unless you abide by it, you can get yourself into a world of trouble. And it's just, I think also, I'm not sure, but when's our union contract up, the end of 2026?
End of 26, yeah.
So if we think of getting rid of them, and that's one of their specialties, it's something to think about, and maybe we can turn them down hours. It's just, there's stuff that, I love Diane, and she's really, really good, but unless you have SHRM training and certification, she'll never understand all the ins and outs of it. It's just, it's something that companies need to have, and in the past, we've actually had a person that had those certifications on staff.
No, I agree, and I agree with Rob on the benchmarking. At Suncadia, even though we had 400 employees, there were 6 people in that department,
In the HR
in
department.
HR, full-time. So,
It's a big statement of work.
It is.
Okay, so the motion's been made and seconded, all in favor? AJ?
I'm gonna abstain.
Abstain. Stu?
he raised his hand.
Okay. AJ abstained. So that passes. Majority. Okay, moving on to 7B, approval request of the 2025 nominations and election manual. This is Robin.
So I can make this pretty quickly for you. The additions were primarily around online voting. So in the preface on page 5, the 6th bullet down under the independent third-party election vendor, they'll handle any online voting process. On page 10, 2.0, 2.1, there's a section Z voting F.
That's on page 9 online.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, this file's been going, I actually grabbed a whole update because it's color coded, it's just easier for me, so. Sorry, that could be page 9.
No
But
worries.
it's 2.0, 2.1, there's a section 7 voting F. And then, page 15 or 16 on mine, there's 3 things here. Section 5.1.3, any online voting, if initiated, will close at the same time of the mailed ballots deadline, so that the mail voting ballots, that deadline closes the same time as online voting.
That's in this update, Rob. So 5.1.3 in the current one that's in the board packet reads, any online voting, if initiated, will close simultaneously with the deadline for mail ballots. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I think
Because
those, we captured your.
I apologize, because I went with the color. And then Michael, help me out here too, 5.2.3. At the bottom of that paragraph, it says any online voting will be handled through the third-party vendor.
Yeah, that was added also, Rob.
Yeah,
So I think we captured your updates there. If you want to review and let me know if we missed anything.
the only other thing is, in the voting packet, in the agenda packet, it's got, an old signature page, it's got, members that are no longer on the committee. So we need to update that with, Don Jamthouse and Joe Chinkos.
Yeah, I'll pass you, I think we did, I'll have you look at this. I've got it in here and mark it for signature.
Okay.
So thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Is the online voting being handled through UniLect?
Yes,
It is, so it just says will be handled through a third-party vendor.
which would be,
UniLect.
UniLect.
So
if
if
we,
whoever we added,
if we could ever find anybody else to
Gotcha.
even handle our voting,
perfect.
yeah.
Have any other questions about the update in the N&E manual, Rick?
Yeah, so, I don't know how much of Iowa applies to us, but there's a reference to RCWs in here about voting and elections.
Yes.
Are we gonna have to update it? Are we affected by the Iowa changes that are gonna be coming? I I don't know, is there any way to anticipate doing it once instead of twice, or?
It doesn't really say how to vote, it's just the voting count. We're affected by the voting calendar, and we wanted to, about a year ago, we updated the N&E manual to include the LOCIA, the acronym, to have those elements put in there. We're gonna wanna watch them, because if there's any changes to it. So we know, for example, a board will be appointing an N&E committee in the future, for example.
Now, I have another question on my page 74.
Sure.
When it's talking about overvotes and non-votes, I think that's a typo, I'm not 100% sure. Under B.2.1, the bottom section of that, under non-votes, it says if a voter does not vote for the measure, this is a non-vote situation. No votes are tallied on the tally sheet. So is that, I think it should be non-votes?
I'm sorry, let me get caught up with you. You said on page 75?
In the board packet.
And the board packet is 74.
What's its magic number?
B2 point,
B.2.1, the last paragraph on that.
yeah. Overvote, non-vote.
So it's talking about the situation, if it asks you, or it says you can vote up to, let's say, 6 people, and you only vote for 3, in order to get the numbers to come out right, it wants to record the non-votes, but it says the no votes, and I think it should be non-votes.
I gotta be honest with you, I have never come across an overvote, non-vote situation since I've been involved.
Well, and I have another question about non-votes. Because non-votes could impact the outcome of an election. Because, because if the highest 3 vote winners are elected, let's say, so you're asked to vote for 3, and you only vote for 1, it hurts the other 2 that could have been voted for it. And so my preference would be non-votes would be discounted, that you wouldn't count any of the votes on a non-vote, because it can sway the outcome.
Can I comment, or AJ, have you seen this before? This non-vote section, what this is, Rick.
Was there red lines provided to us to review?
Yeah, it's on page 74. So I copied this verbatim from the previous. What they're doing here, Rick, is if they get a non-vote for a measure on the tally sheet, they're gonna put a 1 under the overvote or non-vote column, so that at the end, so they can guarantee the maximum number of votes wasn't exceeded. They're gonna add up all of the tally votes and the non-votes, and it should agree with the number of ballots returned. So it's kind of like a hash total.
So now I remember, so the first year I came to Sun Valley, at that time, we didn't have UniLect. The master counter and whatnot, we would put down that, see if I'm gonna explain this right, so we would put a check mark for each person that received a vote. The ones that didn't get any, we check no vote. Go ahead, AJ.
Something like to practice, can I try and summarize what you're trying to say, what I hear you saying, because I don't think other people are hearing it.
Okay.
So in B.2.1, the last paragraph of that is non-vote. It says, the first sentence says, if a voter does not vote for the measure, this is a non-vote situation. Then the start of the next sentence says, no votes.
I think
A no vote is not a
It's supposed to be
non-vote.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to say,
I
right?
think they
Just
are
that
saying
simple.
yeah.
Typo, yeah, it's
Should be non, not no, that first word of that next sentence.
Yeah, that's all.
Or
Enter
it should
no-
be, what,
Yeah.
it means 0 votes are tallied on the tally sheet?
No,
No, it's not a no vote,
It's
the
a
second
non-vote.
sentence starts with no votes, but we're talking about
Non-votes.
non-votes,
And you
not.
could-
this
A
is
no vote
considered
is you
a
marked no to the measure, like you don't agree with it, a non-vote is you left it blank and said, I forgot, or I don't know,
You
or
didn't
I
vote.
I don't care.
You didn't vote for as many as you could have voted for, so.
yes.
But I don't think you can negate someone's ballot because they don't vote for something, because you don't have to in any ballot on any election we do, you're not required to vote for people.
That's right.
Yeah,
You
that's,
could-
I get it, that's ambiguous. It looks like you're forcing a no vote if they didn't check it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a
I
typo.
think
But I
somebody
think we've
just, it's, I
interpreted
think
that.
it's just to fix it's to add an N.
Yeah, you
It's
just
good
put,
catch.
just.
So, AJ, tell me one more time, I wanna make sure I'm tracking with you guys. Enter one non-vote, that's what that should say?
Yeah, B.2.1, the very last paragraph is underline non-vote. And then the second sentence in that paragraph starts, no votes are tallied. It should say
Say non-votes are
The
tallied.
first word of that second sentence should be
Just a
NOA,
typo.
Non-vote.
Yep, I'm with you, thank you, AJ,
is what he was saying.
yep.
Okay,
So
I
if we
got,
could make that edit, that would be good.
Just a typo, but.
Like,
Are these redlined?
Did I?
they were, when we were working through this, they were
Okay, so
redlined,
this
but
is
they're,
not, I'm not, like, I was just wondering if my phone is not showing it, or,
in the board packet, the changes are not
Linda, you got a question?
so I got a question for Rob, because
Yes,
I don't understand it, and I'm looking at item number 4.1.12.
What page?
I can't because I've got your book from before and it
Oh.
won't.
Um,
That's why I'm giving a number.
Okay.
The old book used to say, after 2 business days,
58.
after 2 business days, ending at close of business on the second day from the drawing date, no candidate withdrawals will be accepted. That's the old manual.
Yeah.
The new manual, however, reads at great length, which is bizarre, but I'm gonna read the whole thing. A candidate who wishes to withdraw shall provide written notice to the Chair of Nominations and Elections and the Board President. No reason for withdrawing needs be given. Submission of such withdrawal constitutes the candidate's express consent for Sudden Valley to notify members of the candidate's withdrawal. Any withdrawal shall be effective when it's first received by the Chair of the Nominations and Elections or the Board President. The SVCA will notify the membership of a candidate's withdrawal via official SVCA notification channels only when the ballots are printed. Thereafter, SVCA shall not provide notice of a withdrawal, and I believe that should be changed.
well, but Rich Davis told us that we had to have that in there.
I understand that, but if you're gonna leave somebody do a late withdrawal, there should be a way that the SVCA will notify the membership of a candidate's withdrawal via official SVCA notification channels, including the October copy of the views. That would be the last time you could tell someone, but that's in October, that's way after the ballots are printed, to tell members, you know, all, in October, we put all the candidates, all their bios, all their statements and stuff in there.
So,
Why wouldn't you at that very last opportunity, put in there that
I
that
agree.
person has
I
withdrawn?
agree with you, and 2 years ago, when, these changes were made, the N&E Committee, wanted to have that type of language put in here, but when it went to, the attorney, our attorney said we couldn't do that because we'd be in essence negating people's votes after they'd already voted.
But if the
So,
person has
let me finish with
withdrawn,
this. So if I voted for Rob Gibbs, and then, Rob Gibbs pulls out, and then that ballot's already been submitted, and we go back and say, oh, by the way, Rob's pulled back, there could be a legal issue with the fact that I
Gotcha, yeah, I remember that too.
remember that, AJ? And so, it
Something
was,
along those lines.
we had a lot of conversation about that at that time, and we decided we were gonna follow our attorneys. We were paying our attorney a lot of money to, so. I'm with you in spirit.
I think it was something similar, like in a state or local or federal election, there's no body notifying you that someone's withdrawn from the election, like.
Yeah, it was more about.
That just like the news does that, like, right? So that should be like the editor of the View should be covering something like that, I would say, more than I think that was Richard's take. It like wasn't the association's job to interfere with that or some I don't remember the exact language he said, but it was something like that. But I remember what Rob's saying, like he said there was something that like made it a little iffy to do.
You could always go back and ask to read Rich's opinion, because we asked for it and weren't given, we weren't.
Yeah, I'd like to see the reason I'm saying that is somebody whose first year I ever did N&E was dumb as a stick. But a guy came to me the day people were registering in person, and I'm registering, and he goes, "Here's my resignation." And I went, wait a minute, this isn't happening to me. So I went to the gal that was the head of N&E at the time, but they had to tally all of his votes. He actually won election.
And then he could speak
And he had
step down.
withdrawn, but let me tell you, talk about a tempest in a teapot. And that's why we've gone by that and we haven't really run into many problems with that.
Well,
And it's why I wish that at least, if somebody
Well, I can see the board,
withdrawals.
the community saying, I want new ballots then, because they withdrew, and I can see where that went legally.
yeah, I mean, that was Rich's advice to us, and we took it, and so that's why it's in there.
You still have to come, it's just, I'm telling you, the one I will never forget that. It was just so weird having come by with them, and where he goes, I won election, and it's like, then everybody was saying, well, then give the person the next, and I'm going, no, you can't do that. It doesn't say we can do that in our bylaws, and so we had to fill a vacancy on the board.
So when we talked about this, when the information came back from our attorney, the committee basically said, well, if somebody is voted in and they don't want the position, they would resign, and we would.
And then you fill the vacancy.
Fill it in our normal channels. But that's, yeah, good, that's why it's there,
Okay, that's,
Thanks, AJ, for your memory on that too.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like a formal opinion, like he writes on official letterhead and memo style. It might have just been comments on a Word doc that was redlined by the committee and board.
Yeah.
Or something, if I remember.
That's how we got it, was on the Word document,
I don't remember offhand.
That could be why we didn't get his opinion, was there was a problem.
It's just like, it probably would have just been a comment bubble on the side of a Word doc.
Yep.
With his things to changes, and then I think that's what it was.
I think I still have that Word document too, and I can send that over to you.
okay, that works.
Sure.
I don't know, good question. I would think it's just, it should be a resolution, because we have to have many signatures, so that works for me.
Alright, so I'll read it. Whereas the association's board of directors, the board is charged by the bylaws, Article 3, Section C, Section 24, to promulgate such rules and regulations as it deems appropriate, and the board is responsible for the affairs of the association, for Article 3, C, Section 16. Whereas the N&E shall publicize the openings for candidates to serve on the board, N&E, ACC, and applicants to serve on the Finance Committee, Article 5, Section 3H, and submit the names of all eligible candidates for inclusion on the ballot, Article 3A, Section 3E. Supervised elections, Article 5, Section 3I and J. Approve ballot forms, Article 2, Section 7, D and I, and submit a written report to the President of the Board detailing the results of the election, Article 3, Section 3F. Whereas it is in the interest of the association and the membership to ensure properly conducted elections overseen by a neutral N&E Committee. Therefore, it is now resolved that the board adopt this elections manual, revision April 2025, as the official rules and procedures, excuse me, for elections. This manual supersedes all other association election manuals.
Second.
Quick question. So,
Don't have any questions.
just a quick question. We don't have to, amend the motion to add
No, it's just
a typo, a little typo.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
just
we
we
don't
need
know
to
what,
make sure, yes.
just wanna make sure that the committee has in their notebooks the correct work, the correct document.
Somebody will have to correct it before it gets printed and given to them.
That'll fall on the chair, so I'll change that one page. Oh, wait, I can't, it's a PDF, so,
I have captured it.
thank you.
And the signature page has Keith, Linda, you, Michael Wadsworth, Karen Borchert, and Gail Chiarella.
Well, it shouldn't know, it's been changed to Rob, Michael, Don, and Joe Jean.
Yeah,
Can you update that? And I will.
absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael.
Certainly.
It's right in the packet.
Is Dawn one in or two?
It's two N's. It's
It's
J-A-N.
two N and two A's.
Yep,
Oh, is it two A's?
Yes, D-O-N-N and J-A-M-T-A-A-S.
We need to vote on this?
Yes, we do,
That's next?
because it's the manual that we all agree, because ultimately it's the board's responsibility to hold good elections, and this is how we do it.
All in favor?
I'm tempted to abstain.
I'm abstaining, I didn't know what actually was changed and didn't have time to cross-reference it with the.
Wait a minute, wait a
That
minute.
one thing is
Yeah,
messed
I
up.
found you here.
I voted again, so that.
Did you vote twice, finally?
Take your time.
Yeah.
So AJ is against,
No, abstaining.
abstain,
Stuart?
he's got his hand up.
Oh, I see, okay, yeah.
so it's just AJ abstain, but the rest of us are yes. Majority.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
These additions, or do I strike,
Gail was gone and then those two additions.
will you strike those? Just draw them out.
Ooh, we're getting through this.
Okay.
The handbook is dead.
Numbers.
7C has been removed, we're on to 7D, request to rescind ACC board policies replaced by the 2025 ACC manual. Linda?
Oh, what page is this on? Oh,
89.
89. No. Just a minute, I'm getting there. So, back in last year, when we first formed DRC again, document review, we reviewed in the board policies, there were a number of ACC policies. And we looked at that, we talked with ACC because they were doing this huge overhaul. And many of the policies that were in this book were just one-liners because there was nothing for the community to rely upon to know how they had to do things. And so we said that when the ACC updated manual, we asked if they could make sure all of these things were in there. Most of these are just basic things. They're like trees, cutting, limbing on SBCA property, GM's authority for ACC recommendations, authorization for the ACC manager to approve basic requests, contractor hours of operation for construction and construction-related activities on platted lots. We haven't been able, when the ACC approved so late, they said they weren't gonna issue the manual till after the first of the year, January 1. So what I would like is to take these 4 policies and have them rescinded because they exist in the ACC manual and even maybe an expanded or changed topic, but it's all there. Yeah, they've been superseded and they've been expanded upon a lot to make it understandable for everybody. So I would ask that the SBCA Board of Directors approve rescinding the listed ACC policies regarding ACC activities.
Second.
Is this the last of that exists in other places other than the ACC policies, C policies?
There's two that are left. There's one that's permits that I need to come back and grab this year. There's another one that, and I wasn't gonna discuss this, that comes from 1996 that has to do with describing easements, encroachments, and vacations. Only to find out, when you start looking and going back over all this stuff, this was already approved to be rescinded by a board. And I have that in our packet that I have given to the girls. As soon as we can reschedule our meeting, I'm gonna come back with that one that's already been, there's one regarding permitting that I need to still do, that we had last year that I missed, and then the one that's already been years ago, the board rescinded it because it wasn't accurate anymore. And it's like, sometimes you open Pandora's box, but I would like these four removed. We've had, as you well know probably, a little bit of issue with some of the builders because some of them went back and looked in the policies and very much want to use that later date.
Stuart, you had a question?
Yeah, well, it's more of a comment than anything. So I did not see in here anywhere the policies that are replacing these ones that are being rescinded. You shouldn't rescind something unless you're providing us that with the information that has been superseded. I mean, I have no idea what these policies are currently written as. You know, the board should be provided that information. We shouldn't just have this blanket rescinding of policies.
I think we discussed this last year. I'd have to look where I brought forth each one of these and indicated that in the background of this.
That may be very well true last year, Linda, but if you're going to ask us to rescind it now, you should provide us a copy of what has been superseded with. That's all I'm saying.
Then I'd have to give you a copy of the ACC manual, or if you want, we can do this at another meeting and
You could
those sections.
copy those sections and provide it to us so we know what we're rescinding and what's been superseded.
It isn't that it's superseded, it's rescinded because it's been expanded upon in the ACC policies, that whole booklet that we looked at last year for a long time.
So there's a policy that has superseded these policies or expanded on. I mean, we need to know what it is.
In the ACC manual.
Yeah, so what's kind of confusing on this, and I had the same question actually, and then we'll get to you, AJ, was this is rescinding board ACC policies. And so I went to the office and Diane sent me a thing the other day that explained just what you're asking, where were all these changes at? And now they're all in the ACC manual. So the manual's been updated to include all of these, and they've been, like she said, expanded upon. They've even have some further restrictions and things like that in there. But it is a fair question you're asking, but yeah, I did check myself because I had the same question. And they've all been taken care of in the new ACC manual. Do you have any more questions, or can I go to AJ?
I don't have any more questions.
Okay, thank you, AJ.
This kind of goes back to, I've been harping on this a little bit tonight, but I agree with Stu. I think, there is a cover letter to start, but I think it would have been helpful to get a copy of these policies and then shown the portions of the ACC manual that have, I agree with Stu, the board shouldn't have to go dig all the information out for themselves, that's what the committee's supposed to do, or staff is supposed to do, we should just get the pile of information. I think that's what Stu was saying.
Yeah, no, totally, yeah.
In this instance, we gotta go search it out and confirm for ourselves that it actually is covered in the ACC manual. that stuff, so.
You see my notes when we first talked about it, I said replace with what, replace with what, replace with what, replace with what? On each one of them, and then I went to the office, and then Diane did it for me.
Yeah, I'd have to go through the ACC manual, find each
Yeah.
section in there that's replaced, like what these ones talked about. So then I'd have to go to the website, get these, pull those off, go to the ACC manual, pull that, I mean, you know, we're talking an hour and a half worth of research by the time we're done, and
All right, so
I don't have time for that, being honest.
the motion was made, and then I seconded, so we don't wanna proceed, then obviously we wouldn't vote,
I
no.
need to think what the word is.
You could table it.
I don't wanna table it, cause I don't wanna kill it.
Oh,
I wanna bring it forward to the next board meeting in June.
is that tabling? That could be wrong.
That's not tabling, tabling is killing.
Oh, I don't wanna do that.
What's it called? What's it called?
Is there a way-
Reconsider. I
make a
change,
motion
I
to-
make my motion to
Bring back
reconsider
later.
and bring back at the June board meeting.
Second.
It's technically not reconsidering, because reconsidering is overturning your prior vote.
Then what do I do?
You
I
just
think you just say you wanna bring it back, a motion to bring it
All
back.
postpone it to the next meeting.
Postpone, all right.
That's a good word.
Move to postpone until the June board meeting.
Second.
All in favor of postponing?
Time is-
That was good.
Rob,
Oh,
you're not voting? Oh, that's right, you don't vote. I was trying to draw attention to eating the cupcake.
no. Notice how I slid back away from the camera.
Yeah. Well, look at me right now.
Okay, these are really good.
That was unanimous, I believe. I didn't get Stuart, I think that. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Stuart can tell you, okay. All right, moving on to 7E, review and approval of 2025 contract summary. Michael?
Yes, sir. Sorry, and
no
you were
worries.
correct, it was postponed, the motion. I looked it up in Roberts.
Yes.
I knew there's one word, I would just find which is the right one.
Okay, the contract summary is a work in progress. So this is not a final version by any means. I did want to respond to Linda's concerns that, back in November, it just, I think, Joanne was caught up in the bomb cyclone and it just did not get done in November, which is when it's supposed to get done. So I've got, Joel, myself, Nikki, Morgan, they're all working on it. So we do want to have this for you ASAP by the next meeting.
One of the things that we like, and that isn't in this one, is that with some of these contracts, they have a value. So that, it's like Larson and Gross. They have the 60-day notice to terminate based on $16.50 hourly rate for support IT. They also have another portion where they do something for us that is a fixed fee, I think. $365. They have we pay a monthly amount to them for that.
For the software.
And One Digital will now have
So you'd like to see the dollar amounts?
Yeah.
Okay.
It helps. Pacific Security, it's like sometimes we get huge increases from them. And
But we're gonna
UniLect,
add a column with the values for
you will,
sure.
all right, that's all I need to know.
You betcha.
AJ?
So, is this all the contracts then, or are you saying it's not?
Not yet, it's not complete.
We don't.
Are you,
We don't have all of our contracts listed somewhere where we can regurgitate that at any given time any longer?
Not in one place.
The last,
That's what we were
AJ,
trying to
the
get.
last person that did this, and where I found this stupid thing originally was when Akramoff was here. He headed on a whole thing where he reviewed what we were doing and what we should be doing. At that time, there was a really nice current list, I'll even be happy to send it to you, but there are a huge number of contracts for stuff. But he had that done, and then nobody did it for a while. But it's like, it's something, when, I'm gonna say this, last year, when the GM, we wanted a vehicle towed, there was no knowledge that the contract had expired, and basically, she called the towing company, they went, it's expired. The general manager, there's lots of people that can benefit from that, even Joel, but probably the general manager, even when finance committee is looking at, well, what was reasonable, what was last year, and sometimes we have stuff and sometimes we don't. And it's like, there's not been anything for years since Ackronoff printed that. There's been no list like this, none.
Your bylaws state that the finance department and management will provide the incoming board with this every November. The last one that I found was for 2023. And so, yes, I recognize the deficiency, I'm playing catch-up ball here, but I'm not gonna give you garbage.
No, and I think we'll all benefit from it. I really do.
We've gotta have this.
Yeah.
The management calendar is a vital document, and it's something that I've had in every community. Folks, I'm short-staffed, and
I know,
I'm trying to get it
that's why I've been very patiently pushing.
done. Okay, thank you.
Do we see anything else we need to have added to this? The dollar amount is great.
Dollar amount, just they'll, as they
And then
get to them,
update it completely with leases and everything on there as well.
Yeah, Joel and Nikki and I are working on this one alongside Morgan.
Okay.
And is the format okay?
Yeah, format's great,
Good
it's what it looked like before.
All right, so we're approving the format and how it looks, but we want to add that additional column.
Yep.
Will do. And again, accept my apologies, this is on me, and we're gonna make it right. I need the tool too.
Yes, you do, yes, you do.
All right, we're gonna move on, we don't need to vote on that, we're just letting them know that the
Yep.
format is
Yep.
fine, we just need to have a couple other things added to it.
Yep.
All right, moving on to F, this is 7F, approval request for small parcel sale. Parcel 33,770, 717 square feet, Michael?
Thank you, Mr. President. The purpose is to request board approval of the request of owner Ian Graham to purchase a small SVCA parcel, and the parcel number is 33770, tract 1 on the plat map, adjoining his property at 81 Grandview. The owner is asking to acquire the tiny rectangular sliver of land. It's about 717 square feet. Adjacent to his property to help maintain his property, care for the trees on the land, which are largely dead, and improve the function in rainy weather of his home stormwater retention system. He said the previous GM, Joanne, confirmed the legal in September 24 and planned to bring this to the board for consideration. I conferred with Richard Davis to provide the board with further information to consider his request. He's submitted the request and he wants to purchase this piece of land. I know Keith went out and looked at it, myself and Mike Brock. It's basically valueless, but Mr. Graham, I think it would be fair to have him pay all of the costs involved, and you charge him $100 for it or something. It's a piece of land that, like I said, is 700 square feet, but it's about what, Keith, about an 80-degree angle?
Oh, yeah, it's
It's useless for anything except for what he's referring to. The main thing we wanted to check with is to make sure that this was not a restricted or parcel that was put in trust, either through the density reduction or in the green space. And Richard Davis checked, the title company did not locate anything that would restrict SVCA's right to convey title to this parcel to the neighbor. And so we went through all the board resolutions, we looked back on the density reduction that was accomplished back in the 90s with Wacom and Bellingham. So also an alternative is the board didn't want to sell the parcel, but wanted to assist him. You could enter an easement agreement that would allow us to retain title while allowing the owner to perform landscaping and other work. But so again, our recommendation, myself and Mike Brock, is to sell it to him and let him maintain it and cut the trees down and So that is our request. The legal authority, the policy compliance with the SVCA sale of assets policy is listed for the board's review. So myself and Richard did the homework on this to make sure we didn't sell something you couldn't sell. But it's a beautiful piece of property, boy, you could put a birdhouse on it maybe. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Yep,
You too?
I do.
It's right here.
Want me to read it?
Next page. There we go.
Okay.
Where's it out at the end? All right, so the motion, move that the board approve Ian Graham's request to purchase the identified association-owned lot at fair market value, contingent upon Mr. Graham paying all costs related to this sale, and staff confirmation that the lot is unrestricted and not held in trust, and further contingent upon completing a standard sales agreement. All net proceeds from the sale shall be deposited into the appropriate account under SVCA policy 2003-4 or 2002-1.
Second.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, questions?
Do we know the market value?
Hang on, AJ's first.
Oh, sorry.
AJ?
Well, I was just kind of to that point, I feel like there's a lot of incomplete information that still needs to be brought before us so that we can approve this. What are we actually selling it for? Let's see the standard sales agreement, because we don't do this all that often, so, yeah, and then do we pay taxes on this lot then? Is he gonna pay dues on this lot once he purchases it?
AJ?
It'll be conveyed to him, so it'll be deeded, you'll have to quitclaim it to him, and that'll be up to him and the county.
Like, we don't have any of those documents in front of us to approve, and I'm just kinda curious if this is a dues paying lot.
No,
No.
if you look, did you look at the picture? I know it's hard to see and I'm sure on your phone it's like
It's a
looking
little
at my.
Odd triangle that almost goes straight up the side of the hill.
No, it's SVCA.
It's right.
It's SVCA property and it's like the easement or where the gutter goes on the side of the road, right along this road, because if I didn't know where this was, I'd go. But
In fact, it's.
But it backs up to the firs.
Yeah.
The one side, Swallow Court, when you go up and you're on that, it's like within, you can spit and hit the property line for the firs there. And this is just an easement where it comes around the corner and it's like on a curve on any of our other roads. It's just Sudden Valley green space at the edge of the road.
It's a legal lot of record.
Is it?
Well, then how could we sell it if it's not?
Oddly enough.
It has to be.
Oddly enough, it is.
It's a parcel, it's a parcel,
Is it a parcel, that little itty bitty wedge?
yeah, it's,
That's why it has a parcel
you can see the legal
33770.
description. It's called tract 1, and you know, when they platted this, they didn't include it in the sale of the lot because it just contains our culvert, our ditch right there.
Do we, the one thing I was gonna, do we know that there are no, utilities in there?
Oh, yes, yeah.
They're all on the other side of the road?
Yeah, if you get a chance, take a look at this, it's just, you know,
Well, how do we know there's no utilities in there? Like, how do we don't?
it's a hillside. I don't know, we can certainly put some more money into this and retain a real estate broker and list it and get an appraisal. We already have the legal costs that Richard has incurred. So whatever the board's direction is, let me know. I tried to make it as complete as possible. There's about 15 pages of backup here.
Did Richard send you a standard sale agreement for this?
No, that would be up to a real estate broker.
Oh.
I don't have a real estate license and he doesn't
Yeah.
either.
His office can do that.
I'm sorry.
His office could do that, I think.
Sure. Although I think it, you know, I'd like to find a realtor, whatever board direction is, let me know, folks. I'm happy to do whatever you want. I'm trying to provide as much detail as I can.
I guess I'm just kind of confused what it actually is we're selling here. Like, how are we selling a lot that doesn't, like, if he's not gonna pay dues on this, how is it a lot for us to sell?
Well, it's owned by Sun Valley,
It
so
was
lot
owned by
7
Sun Valley, and we
owns.
don't pay tax on it.
Yeah, but are we selling like the equivalent, I get this is a tiny sliver, but is this like the equivalent of like a track space of a green space behind a bunch of homes?
No,
And selling that to somebody?
no.
Like, and
Of course.
Yeah, it is odd. I was shocked receiving the parcel. It just blew me away that.
but is it a legal lot of record?
It is.
Yeah, I think-
No, just because it has a parcel number doesn't make it a legal lot of record technically. Like there are sometimes parcels, like multiple parcel numbers can be combined and like the planning department will make determinations that they're all combined under one legal lot of record. It kind of depends, there's a lot of variance to it, but I don't know, it feels, and we have a ditch in this parcel and a
Go up
culvert,
and take a look at it.
like,
I think we have a ditch on that side of the
Right?
road,
Or take a look at it.
but no culvert.
It's a culvert, and it's
Just a
a
ditch, isn't
triangular
it?
shaped piece that's 20 feet by 70 feet by 70 feet. And it's on this much of an angle.
like are we gonna need easements over this to maintain stuff once we sell it?
Well, I talked to Mike Rock about it, and he was like, we should get rid of it. That was his take on it, like, why would we wanna take care of that? We don't need it. And that was my first concern, do we need it for anything? He was like, nothing. So it'd be better off just let him take care of it.
But then you have to quit
But-
claim it and go through the process.
Yeah, well, that's why we wanted him to, he'll pay for anything we have to do, but, you know, we could postpone this and then we can all drive around and take a look at it and you can dig up maybe more information on it, if there is more information to dig up. Maybe call underground services order or something, you know?
Sounds good.
So postpone to a
Well,
June board
Yeah,
meeting.
any other questions though? Ray, you have a question, did you?
I got covered, I'm just
Okay.
trying to figure out what's the market value
Stu,
of something
Stu has a
small?
question. Stu?
Sue?
I was just gonna say that this should probably be postponed and we get some more information as AJ suggested and now Keith has suggested. You know, if it's got a ditch or a culvert in it that Sudden Valley's gonna have to maintain, I don't think we should be selling that, but you know, I think we just need more information.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's why, Mike was saying we should get rid of it. We have the chance, because we don't wanna maintain it. But I hear you loud and clear.
Mr. President,
Yes,
can I please get board direction then on what you're looking for? So you want an appraisal?
Well,
What
No, we don't
else?
wanna get an appraisal, that's gonna cost us.
Yeah, I don't think we need an
Please
appraisal.
give me clear direction and I'll bring it back.
well, I think, we need to determine whether utilities are there, I guess, so we should do an underground services alert or something like
That
that.
doesn't cost anything.
Well, that doesn't cost anything.
We don't know how much it costs or
We
what.
need a standard lot, we need to see what a standard lot sale agreement looks like, because we haven't seen one. AJ brought that up.
Standard real estate sales agreement?
Yeah,
Sure.
you might even get that from a title company.
Oh, I can get you a copy of it.
Yeah, you don't need a realtor, you just, like the title company,
Yeah.
or Richard probably would have one, but probably find one online.
So if it has a culvert, who will the new owner maintain it, or is that
There's
still part of
no
our?
culvert, no,
Oh,
sorry, that's a
oh.
misnomer, the
Oh,
ditch.
okay.
So the ditch, the roadway ends and the road right of way is there, the road right of way will remain SVCA.
Yeah.
It then is a almost vertical bank that goes up to the lot, which then has dead trees on it. And then you have the Furs property line right behind it. And
Correct.
again, it's no bigger than right here. It's no bigger than this room.
Are there,
Oh, God, no, it's not
are
even-
there, survey stakes?
Not even that big.
No, we
I
just
know
took
what
it
this
off the
curve
plat
is.
map from the center line of the road. There are, yes, we found 2 stakes, that's right. And the Furs has stakes on their line, so you can delineate it pretty well. I just like clear direction to how to bring what you need in order to take action on this, so.
How do we figure out the market value of something that
an appraisal. Or you can do what is
Call
called,
Greg Hall.
you can ask a broker to give an opinion. So we could ask a local broker to
Greg
come out
Hall,
and take a look at it.
Greg Hall would be an excellent person.
So
Greg.
just let me know.
All right, so utilities, standard sales agreement, fair market value.
There you go, then you got something.
Thank you, folks.
Anything else? Okay, so make the motion to postpone this until the following items are obtained.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, moving on to item 7G, capital approval for Austin Creek Bank repair design and, well, it's not bank repair, yeah, repair design and permitting, page 107.
Thank you, Mr. President.
It's 10:06. 10:06.
So again, this is to request the capital funding to complete the design and permitting for the repair of the sloughing Austin Creek Bank adjacent to the rec quarters Barnview Community Garden and the SVCA golf course. So for those who recall, in November 2021, a flood event sloughed off a large section of the creek bank near the rec quarter community garden. In January 23, the board authorized design and permitting for this location and 3 others on Austin Creek. Impact designers retained to complete preliminary work and coordinate with Whatcom County. Subsequent meeting with Whatcom County revealed that the permitting process would require more design work than originally anticipated, given that vegetation has since reestablished and no further changes were observed to the sites. The project was paused in January 24. Now, in November 24, Greg Wadden reported additional erosion. Upon review, the failure now presents a steep drop-off directly adjacent to the frequently used path to the community garden. Continued erosion threatens both the trail access and the garden area itself. So this request proposes hiring Chinook Engineering to perform the design and permitting work. Chinook did the previous work with SVCA on the 2022 8-pole bridge replacement. They can leverage part of that data for cost efficiencies. PNW Services will manage the oversight and permitting. So the cost breakdown is the Chinook quotation that you see behind. And we're proposing the authorization of the $24,882 from CRF to complete the design and permitting, to then bring back information to the board on what it's going to cost to repair it. So those are the requests, that you authorize the $24,882 from SURF for the 2025 Austin Creek Bank Repair Design and Permitting Project, and that you request, or that you authorize me to execute Chinook Engineering proposal dated January 30th for $18,000.
Okay, the motion is moved that the board of directors approve the allocation of $24,882 from SURF for the 2025 Austin Creek Bank Repair Design and Permitting Project.
Second.
Thank you, Linda. Questions or comments?
I just have one question, if Joel could answer it for us. When we closed that project, how much was left in there that was unspent? I see 9,000 was spent, but there was an amount left over that was returned.
Let me look back through like some past board meetings, but yeah, I was just about to say that.
It's about 30-some thousand, I just don't know the exact number. I think it was 30-some thousand.
I was thinking, if you guys do this, maybe you wanna include language, you can just reopen project 9723.04 and we'll just add to this.
Yeah, because there's, I think there's like 9,000 that's
Yeah, there is
closed, and it's like, it
9,703.
doesn't show the amount that was approved anymore, but that's easy to go look up. Because I think this is
I'll
under
find
that
it.
amount.
What's that GL code?
9723.04, 9723.04. I'll look up with the original amount.
Any other questions?
We were just talking last night in the Finance Committee, when we looked at, I'm looking at page 110, there's all these, so I'm assuming that all these are included, because it says, and I just want to confirm that. Because
Yeah, there's four descriptors there below the $18,000 that are all zero.
So are those gonna
So
be
we
empty?
assume that they were included in that?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. And then what was, I was a little unclear on the 60% versus 100% stages of completion. Was that completion of the permitting and design or of the project?
Where's that, Rick?
Under the fisheries.
107.
On page 110. Talks about 60%.
By the way, Linda, so Linda, that original amount was 32,571.
It's 32.
Yeah,
So we wasn't like, we aren't overspending what we originally.
That was the original amount before you guys de-obligated that project.
Yeah, so, and I apologize, I tried to have Tyler here tonight, he's actually in Alaska. What this indicates is that they'll give us budgeting, cost estimates at the 60% and the 100% stage of completion, so we'll be able to factor and estimate cash flow.
How much it's gonna cost.
Yep.
This isn't for repair, this is just to get it permitted and designed for repair.
Yeah, the
Keith, do
repairs.
you know what the FHEP is, what he's suggesting, this fisheries habitat enhancement project? Because if
I
there's.
have a question here, guys. Yoo-hoo. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the finance committee reviewed this yesterday and the questions that they had are not answered and it's being brought to the board. Let's get the questions answered, then bring it back to the board. You know, I'm sorry, but things are kind of out of order here. The finance committee is looking at it and the finance committee has questions that shouldn't be coming to the board unless the questions were answered.
What are the questions for the finance committee?
I don't know because Rick's just asked a few questions. He said, what do these things add up to? Timey mentioned that she didn't think these things added up correctly. So if there's questions that the finance committee had, they should be answered before it's brought to the board, because really the finance committee should be coming in here and saying, okay, the finance committee recommends this. The finance committee does not recommend this. It's not the board should have a discussion about it.
Well, actually, Stuart, I would disagree with you somewhat because this project needs to be dealt with, irregardless of what the finance committee says do it or not. It's something that has to be done.
It does need to be done, but the question should have been answered.
Well, I didn't hear the question. What was the question?
I was confirming
Or
that
timing?
I was the one that asked one question. I was confirming that the numbers here that are zero, that they're included, which is what we assumed last night as well. And if that was confirmed, so basically, we assumed correctly.
Yes,
Right,
that is correct.
And my question, Michael answered, and the finance committee did make the recommendation to recommend to the board that they approve this.
Okay, so did you hear that, Stuart?
Yes, I did. Thank
Questions
you.
were answered and the finance committee did approve it. And Tyler was planning on being here tonight, and I just heard that he couldn't be here for a reason to answer these questions, so I apologize for that. Any other questions?
And nobody's gonna be able to answer my physical question. That's all right. I can live with it.
All
I
right.
just know what that means.
The motion was made by me and seconded by Linda, all in favor?
You have to get it done when the hole gets bigger.
Okay, that's unanimous.
Stu raised his hand.
Now he's voting for it. Yeah, thank you. Okay, motion number 2, part of this is move that the board of directors authorize the general manager to execute Chinook Engineering's proposal dated January 30th, 2025 in the amount of $18,000.
Second.
Thank you, Linda. Questions? Any more? All in favor? That is unanimous.
Hole's just getting bigger and bigger.
It actually
It's
is.
just, I know it is. We got rain again.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item 7H, capital approval turf care building remodel. Page 112 in your packet.
Thank you, Mr. President. And again, I had planned on having Greg Wadden here tonight. Greg informed me this afternoon he had a personal issue at home, couldn't make it. So I believe I can represent it though. So we're requesting funding for the turf care building remodel project, which has been identified in the capital plans for this year. The turf care building remodel project has been split into 3 projects. SDCA Capital Code 9724.01, which remodeled the HVAC. The Capital Code 9724.012 designed and permitted the overall remodel project that now is being proposed. And now in the 2025 capital budget, there is $141,993 in available funds to complete the permitted remodel proposed. So the permits now have been pulled, and they're based upon the permit, the engineering drawings you have. So the 2025 budget of $141,993 includes roof and gutter replacements totaling $25,208. Staff has reviewed these 2 items and has recommended that the roof and gutter be delayed at least another year, as the current condition doesn't warrant replacement at this time. Staff would like to reevaluate in a year and continue pushing this out on a reserve study until the time is necessary for the re-roof. So this leaves a construction budget of $116,785. Attached are the permitted drawings for the proposed remodel. The main scope includes the bathroom remodel to meet ADA standards, reconfiguring and updating the drying room and break room, reconfigurations required to accommodate bringing the bathroom up to ADA standards. So they need more room in the bathroom. You'll see the wall gets demoed and they move the wall over. Miscellaneous improvements to the building include exterior paint, garage door improvements, washdown pad improvements, electrical improvements, and ventilation improvements. So upon funding approval, the project will be issued for bids and returned to the board for contract award. The contract award capital requests will include allowances for the architect support, and construction management. But the project is primarily assumed to be managed by turf care superintendent, at least the day-to-day, making sure the job's on track and they're on site. Because of course the work needs to take place while we're doing golf operations too. So the proposal is to authorize the $116,785 from CRRF to complete the turf care building remodel project.
And the finance committee made a recommendation to approve this request.
All right, so the motion is moved that the SCCA Board of Directors approve the allocation of $116,785 from SURF for the turf care building remodel project.
Second. Timing gets it, all of the timing have it.
Finance committee has approved. Any questions?
I do.
Okay.
So we don't have hard numbers yet, so they're gonna have to come back to us. So when are they is this gonna be a fall project, or are they gonna be doing this in the middle of the summer? And what do the turf care guys do if we have a huge, large crew on in the middle of the summer?
Yeah, again, the next step is to obtain bids. And then when you get the bids, then the winning bidder will be able to give a construction schedule. So my hope is the majority of this is interior work. So my hope, and from what I saw, is that they could start this when the golf course shuts down. Right?
You know, that's my whole thought, because I'm like, right now, you've got all these guys, they all have to go to the bathroom, and that's one of the main.
That's what the trees are for.
Yeah, Linda, I don't see any way this could start inside of 120 days.
Yeah, I don't either.
Even
I
if
just,
you awarded the bid tomorrow, right?
you know, because it's just, we're gonna be going into peak time, and, you know, he's been hiring just to, you know, stay afloat. They hire all sorts of, and I was just concerned, is it's like we're gonna have Santa cans out there?
Well, the contractor will have to have
Yeah.
sand cans, but no, I don't foresee this getting, you know.
Tom.
Tom?
Yeah, Obviously, the roof and the gutters are gonna have to be replaced in the future, and I question the wisdom of delaying that, because it's not gonna get cheaper. They're gonna be more cost efficient to go ahead and get it done, with the rest of the building.
The question is, what if it fails and then you damage everything, you just put in brand new?
Yeah, it's not at the point of failure at all. I mean, the roof is actually, the comp roof's in pretty good shape.
I think it hasn't been that long since I'm saying, I remember this.
They just
That's scary.
cleared it and did the moss treatment and everything on it. Tom, I think part of that also is not only for the economic consideration, let's get the most useful life out of it you can. But, you know, a roofing project then itself could be done in the appropriate weather. So,
It sounded like it was just being delayed a possibly a year.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be a year before we have to replace it, and.
Yeah, I think they're anticipating getting more than one more year out of that roof, yeah.
I don't think you're gonna get any economy of scale, because they're gonna have to hire a roofer to come in and do that, who's gonna have to mow their whole crew and equipment out anyways. It'd be the same price likely if we just went and hired the roofer to do it for us in a separate project. That's my hunch anyways.
So I have a question about, is it required to have a permit to re-roof?
Well,
No, not for
Not for like a comp roof, I don't
Yeah.
think.
no.
Certain buildings maybe, but I don't know that that one would be,
Because I was just wondering if you needed a permit to do that.
like you don't need a
How long-
permit to re-roof your house.
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, roofing permits, you can pull them real quick,
And they're
because they're
cheap.
usually an insurance claim. Got a problem with, you know, if your roof starts to leak and your house is flooded.
I just wondered if it needed a permit, if there was a time constraint on having to get a new permit. But if you don't need a permit, it's not an issue.
And even if they require one for that to be like normal, they easy to do.
Because I had a ton of issues with when I bought my house, we got a new roof on it and the previous owners hired a non-roofing contractor to do it. And then we ended up having to work with them to fire that person and bring in Mount Baker Roofing and clean up the whole mess. And I brought the county inspector out there to look at like the work the people were doing that I thought was really bad. And he was like, yeah, you don't necessarily, for like, at least for a residential roof, you don't need a permit. It's like standard industry building practices, basically, like. You know, they recommend hiring a roofer, a licensed roofer, because it's kind of a specialty thing. Like I remember coming home and it was like, my roof has 2 peaks that come off in 3 valleys, and 2 of the valleys matched up, and then the third one just kinked like 15 degrees and was like running up the roof at a different angle, and I'm like, I climbed the ladder and I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it appears that, I just looked at Rockland County. It says, unless the project involves structural modifications, changes to roof sheathing, or the use of materials that differ significantly in weight from the existing roofing. So if you're just doing a re-roof, no permits required.
So just all in favor?
Yeah.
You voting? Okay, yeah, all in favor?
Raise this hand, ask the question.
I was gonna ask the question, we're gonna vote for this.
That's unanimous.
Go home here.
Alright, that was unanimous.
Yep, I got it.
Alright, motion to adjourn.
No. Got 2 more things to do. I'm the next one, it's called 7I, Facilities Tour Discussion.
Alright,
I'm
7-9
actually
is
J, but
the-
you know, whatever.
Part of
a
my,
facility tour.
part of my responsibility is to offer to, and I think it can be for all board members, a tour of the facilities once you get new on the board. You get to go with Mike, look at the different, you know, the tall building in Area Z and their new offices and all the different facilities we have here. It's late, you know, it's like the bomb cyclone kind of just really threw a wrench in things, and I've been asking Keith about this. And then the LRPC wanted to take a look at some of the buildings because of the work they're doing. And I think everybody, including Stu, has had, except for you, has had a tour of the facilities. And my question is to the whole board, does anybody, I need to offer it to Tom, and that would be easy for him to just spend a day and go with Michael and go for a ride and.
Already did it.
You already did it.
Yeah, I toured the new facilities building at the open house. I've been through the Welcome Center, been through this place.
Okay, so it's just.
There's nothing I need to see.
All right, I just wanted to make sure of that because then I've dotted my i's and crossed my t's.
No, you're
Because it's
covered.
just,
If it's
you
just
know,
me, you're covered.
okay, it's just you, I think everybody else, I've gone on tours with everybody else. So I'm done, so
All right, thank you.
next,
All right, moving on to 7J, Appeals Committee members. Amy?
I have an appeal on June 17th. Linda's unable to make it. I know, Tom, you said that you could come in, it'd be 5 o'clock in this room. I need one other victim, one other person. Rob, can you do it again, or does somebody else wanna?
Somebody else
for a
wants
change?
to, if somebody else wants to, or we need more, but I'm available.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll be
so,
his backup if somebody shows up.
okay,
So
so,
will you be sending out an email or something?
yeah, you'll
Let
get
me
one
know
from
what's
Ellen
about.
at her age, and we'll send you the information.
Okay.
I just have to give them the names.
so you basically have 3 people, Tom and Rob as the ones, and Ray as a backup.
And so is the board okay with appointing Tom Henning, Rob Gibbs, and Ray Meter for the Appeals Committee? AJ, you have a
Consensus?
question?
Thumbs up.
Oh,
Thumbs
you're
up.
good. All right, we're good? Everybody's good?
Yes, now